Chapter 1. As the eldest daughter of the Hyuga clan, Hinata felt that she had been very successful. Whether it was aristocratic etiquette or the practice of chakra and gentle fist, Hinata thought that she had been impeccable. Although the soul hidden in the body of this 5-year-old loli was an adult soul. Sneaking back home, Hinata immediately turned into a well-behaved girl. If others saw her every move, they would definitely praise her. She is indeed the eldest daughter of the Hyuga family. Walking on the wooden corridor with her short legs, Hinata was about to sneak back to her room when a shadow fell from the sky. In this hot summer, Hinata felt a little refreshed. Refreshed your ass. Sneaking out to play and being caught by the old ghost Hyogo again. Isn't mom pregnant? Didn't you always want to have a boy? Why don't you accompany mom and stare at me every day? What's wrong with you? Are you a womanizer? Hinata was short. Anyway, she couldn't see Hyogo's face if she didn't look up, so she just pretended that she didn't see it. Hinata was about to go around when a big hand suddenly pressed on Hinata's small head, and a majestic voice came from above. Running out to play again? After all, it's Shinobu. Hinata, who crossed over, was still very curious about Shinobu Village. In particular, a certain yellow-haired prince advertised Ichiraku ramen every day. She didn't know if it was delicious or not. Ah, Father-sama. Hinata's small face was as serious as Hyogo's. Her etiquette was very standard, and she didn't have the embarrassment of sneaking out to play and being caught by her parents. Hyogo responded and looked at Hinata, who didn't even reach his waist, and his heart was full of disappointment. Of course, he wasn't disappointed with Hinata. Since teaching Hinata the practice of chakra and gentle fist, Hyogo had lamented more than once how good it would be if Hinata was a boy. Hinata had considered this question more than once. At the beginning of his transmigration, Hinata made 3 wishes to a certain great god. First, travel to the world of Naruto. Second, he has the Tensigen. The third one is to have a super talent that can easily beat Madara with just a casual practice. Hinata's wishes had all come true. After coming to the world of Naruto and becoming the Hyuga Patriarch, as long as the strength is enough, the Byakugan can automatically evolve into the Tensigen. His cultivation talent is even more explosive. Even the so-called genius Hyuga Niji was defeated by him. However, he had transmigrated into Hinata's body. F***ck. As for why he chose the Tensigen instead of the cooler Sharingan or Rinnegan, of course, it's because the Tensigen is more powerful. Tensigen has the super insight of Byakugan, the various dojutsu of Tensigen, and the chakra mode of Tensigen. For example, the truth-seeking ball in the Tensigen mode is already invincible. It can completely destroy the Crown Prince and the second young master. As for Hinata sneaking out to play, Hyogo didn't care too much. How could he not know that Hinata sneaked out? Every time he went out, there were guards secretly protecting him. I'm the young lady of the Hyuga family, the future head of the family. In this world where strength is respected, talent can be willful at will. She's not the timid and cowardly young lady in the original work. Now Hinata has the title of Hyuga Genius Young Lady. Seeing that his genius daughter was fine, Hyogo walked past Hinata with an indifferent face. He's going to accompany his wife, begging for the second child to be a boy. A serious voice came faintly. Come and find me after dinner. Yes, father. This old thing is going to torture me again. Humph. When I grow up, I must let you see what a fist as big as a sandbag is. Just turning a corner, Hinata found a little boy hiding in the corner peeping at her. Hyuga Niji. Hyuga Niji is now Hinata's little follower and guard, and the two have a very good relationship. As for the kidnapping incident in the original work, as a transmigrator, how could she tolerate such a thing? When the cloud came to Shinobu to negotiate, Hinata followed Hyogo every day for fear of being kidnapped. From the beginning to the end, the cloud didn't even have a chance. The cloud kidnapped someone else, a little boy who hasn't been planted in the caged bird, was taken out of Shinobu, and was finally rescued by the Hyuga family ninja and Shinobu Umbu. As for Hyuga Niji, from the first time they met, he was attracted to Hinata and became a loyal sister-con. Hinata waved his hand and Hyuga Niji immediately ran over and worriedly said, Miss Hinata, Hayashi-sama didn't scold you, right? Although he was a little dissatisfied with the title Miss Hinata, when he heard it for the first time, he had goosebumps all over his body. After all, in Hinata's previous life, Miss was not a good title. But after so long, Hinata is used to it. It's okay. Hinata raised her small head and smiled. Father won't eat me. Seeing Hinata's smiling face, Niji's small face turned red, and he didn't know what to say. This child is hopeless. However, this should be the treatment that the protagonist should receive, although it's the female protagonist. But according to common sense, the treatment of the female protagonist is that whether it's the male protagonist or the supporting male protagonist, they all like the female protagonist. When the female protagonist makes trouble, there will be countless male protagonists and supporting male protagonists to help deal with it. I really have the fate of a protagonist. As long as it's the fate of a protagonist, even if it's the female protagonist, I will accept it. It's almost dinner time. Hinata said goodbye to Niji and returned to his small room, lying on the bed, and relaxed. Comfortable. Sure enough, the attribute of staying at home is suitable for me. Saving the world and so on, I'll leave it to the crown prince and the second young master. Kashida was just a bystander, occasionally encouraging the crown prince and waiting for the world to be saved. As long as the Tensigan is opened, he has the ability to protect himself. Who cares about the world of ninja? The reason why Hinata sneaked out to play was to find a certain yellow-haired little fox. In the original story, Hinata and the yellow-haired little fox were the official CP. Since he has no fate in this life, he has to compensate her. Sakura is with the second young master, and now Hinata is gone. The crown prince will probably be a bachelor for the rest of his life. Anyway, the crown prince's dream is to be Naruto's man. Isn't the fifth Naruto Tsunade? It's good to be Tsunade's man. Ding ding ding. After being idle in bed for an hour, there was a knock on the door. Come in. The maid pushed the door in, placed Hinata's dinner on the table, bowed and said, Miss Hinata, it's dinner time. Why does Hinata have to work so hard in front of Hyogo? Isn't it so that she can be at ease as a lazy young master? Although sometimes cultivation is tiring, when she's not cultivating, she's really treated like a princess. Chapter 2. The dinner was sumptuous. Compared to the crown prince who eats instant noodles for 3 meals a day, Hinata's life is like a princess living in a castle. After dinner, Hinata rested for half an hour. His cheapskate father Hyuga Hayashi sent someone over. The evening training was about to begin. Opening the door of the practice room, Hinata looked around. The people in the room are still the same as before. Hyogo stood in the middle. Next to him was the great elder of the Hyuga clan. Hyuga Hizashi and Hyuga Niji were kneeling on the side. Niji's face was slightly red, and he peeked at Hinata from time to time. Ahem. The great elder looked at Hinata and then said to Hyogo, Let's start. Hyogo nodded and said, Hinata, come here. Yes, Father-sama. Hinata bowed obediently. Do you remember what I taught you yesterday? Yes. Attack. Yes. Hinata made a gentle fist-starting posture. His eyes were slightly fierce, his feet moved, quickly approached Hyogo, and hit Hyogo's thigh. No wonder every time Hinata and Hanabi practiced in the original story, there was always someone accompanying them, probably for the sake of the girl's innocence. Hinata certainly can't beat Hayashi now, but one of Hinata's 3 wishes is to have the talent to beat Uchiha Madara. Among his peers, his strength can be said to be the best in the world. He can beat all children under the age of 5. Maybe he can beat a 6 or 7-year-old. After a while, Hinata was tired and panting. Seeing Hinata couldn't hold on, Hayashi pushed Hinata back and said lightly, Okay. Rest for a while, then practice with Niji. By the way, Niji's identity is not only Hinata's little follower and guard, but he is also Hinata's daily sparring partner. On the side, Hyuga Hizashi looked at Hinata with a complicated gaze. He thought that his son's talent was already the best in the Hyuga clan, but he didn't expect that Hinata's talent was even above Niji's. It seems that the glory of the Hyuga clan will be entrusted to Hinata. If only Hinata was a boy. In the training room, except for little Ningji and Hinata, everyone was thinking about this question. However, if she wanted to become a boy, she had to find Uncle Snake first. But after swapping bodies, Not only would the Byakugan be gone, even the Tensigan would be gone. Strength or girls? That was the question. Your sister. Since he had transmigrated to the Hyuga clan, he could have just set a main family identity. Why did he have to be Hinata? But thinking about it carefully, it's actually quite good to travel to the Hyuga clan. At least Hyuga is not like Uchiha, who thinks about how to rebel all day long. And unlike Uchiha, who has no allies in Shinobu, the Hyuga clan's popularity in Shinobu is not bad. And they are well behaved, and there is no threat of Manjikyu Sharingan. And the strongest in the clan is only at the level of Quasi-Kage. Think about those Kekei Genkai clans. The Ice Release Yuki clan was destroyed, the Shikatsugu clan was also destroyed, and the Senju clan disappeared without a trace. When the Uchiha clan is destroyed in 2 years, the Hyuga clan will become the strongest clan in Shinobu. The first clan in the ninja world. In the Shinobu village, the 3 generations are not easy to comment. Danzo will die in the hands of the second young master in 10 years. When Tsunade comes to power, the Hyuga clan will be safe. There was no need to mention Kakashi. Naruto, that hot-blooded fool, will not touch the Hyuga clan. This means that after the Uchiha clan is destroyed, the Hyuga clan will be glorious for at least a few decades. After resting for a while, Hinata's physical strength has been restored, and Hyogo called Niji to practice with Hinata. It's called practice, but it's actually a fight to get familiar with the use of Gentle Fist. If it's a real fight, Hinata can defeat Niji in 10 moves. Hyogo didn't let Hinata go until 9 o'clock in the evening. After taking a bath, Hinata lay on the bed and fell asleep. The ninja world is good in everything, but there is too little entertainment, and the development of technology is somewhat abnormal. The novels written by Jiraiya are not suitable for children, and Hinata can't buy them at her age. As the eldest daughter of a Hyuga family, while enjoying the glory brought by the Hyuga family, she must also bear the corresponding responsibilities. Hinata now has a lot of homework. Every morning she studies cultural classes, and in the afternoon and evening she studies ninja knowledge. If you don't count eating and rest time, there are only 2 hours of entertainment time all day. Hinata also learned why the ninja school is 3 years in wartime and 6 years in non-war times. Why does a 12-year-old trainee only know 3 body techniques? The reason is because of the cultural classes. No matter what you learn, learning to read is the foundation. Like Naruto, who didn't know a word before entering the school, want to become a ninja? Dream on. After learning to read, you also have to learn various passwords, codes, the history of the ninja world, the glory of the village, and ninja common sense, etc. Although ninjas don't pay attention to cultural classes, they still have to learn the basics. Ninja common sense includes physics, chemistry, and other knowledge. Especially for a 1,000-year-old ninja like Hyuga, the importance of cultural classes is not inferior to the country's nobles. Hinata is naturally very diligent in her studies. In her previous life, Hinata was a bad student. Now that she has the opportunity to be a top student, or even a genius, of course she has to perform well. At least she has to beat the second young master in grades, and let him experience what despair is. The difference between a genius and a top student, you will understand when you go to school. If you perform well, you are the real eldest daughter. If you don't perform well, you are the trash eldest daughter in the original work. For the corrupt life of a rich family, Hinata is working very hard. After tossing and turning until 3 in the afternoon, Hinata finally has time to relax. The task of finding the yellow-haired little fox is very important. After all, the two have the fate of a previous life. Bah! It is the fate of the original work. Although it is not fated in this life, the yellow-haired little fox's current life is very difficult. She has to give him some spiritual support. As for whether rashly contacting the Nine-Tails Jinchuriki will attract the attention of the village's higher-ups. Why would I, Miss Hinata, be afraid of this? Anyway, Byakugan can't control Nine-Tails. Besides, Hinata just wants to beat up the yellow-haired little fox, not make friends with him. What is there to be afraid of? Just as she walked to the door, Hinata saw Niji waiting for her at the door. Niji Gage, what's the matter? Hinata asked. Niji still has a shy look, without the coldness of the original work, and said softly, Father asked me to accompany you. Oh. This should be the order of her cheap father Hyogo. He probably doesn't want Hinata to make friends with some shady people. Especially Uchiha. Okay then. Hinata nodded and asked, "Did you bring money?" "I brought some." "Great, let's go." Chapter 3. Holding a bag of glutinous rice balls, Hinata looked at Niji's eyes full of resentment. As the eldest daughter of the Hyuga family, Hinata, who was only 5 years old, had no pocket money. The Hyuga family was very strict, and Hyogo did not allow Hinata to play with other children on weekdays. The daily necessities were all provided by the family. If Hinata hadn't shown her amazing ninja talent, she wouldn't have had the chance to sneak out at all. As the saying goes, only talented people can be willful. But what about Niji? He was just Hinata's little follower, but he had so much pocket money in his pocket. Niji was a little scared by Hinata's stare. Seeing Hinata stretched out her white and tender little hand, Niji obediently handed over his pocket money. Hinata nodded her little head with satisfaction, showing an expression of the child is worth teaching. With money in his pocket, he didn't panic. Hinata began to buy a lot of things, and she didn't have to worry about not having enough money. After all, Hinata Takuma, the bodyguard sent by Hyogo, was hiding nearby. If she didn't have enough money, she could call him out to pay the bill. Walking on the streets of Shinobu, Hinata's pure white pupils symbolized her identity. Those adults didn't dare to offend the Hyuga family at all. Hinata was like a playboy, bullying people on the street with her guards and doing all kinds of evil. She only needed a vicious dog. By the way, it seems that my teammate is from the Inuzuka family. I can have a ninja dog in the future. The adults didn't dare to offend the Hyuga family, but the naughty children wouldn't spoil Hinata. Hinata, who looked weak and easy to bully and had money in her pocket, was the first choice of those naughty children. The 6-year-old Niji didn't have much deterrence now. Hinata wanted to pass through an alley and take a shortcut to another street, but she was blocked by 3 naughty children. "Hey, is this the supercilious look? Your eyes are really disgusting. You're actually a monster, aren't you? White-eyed monster. Hey, shouldn't we ask them to hand over their allowance?" Ningji's face was cold. As a Siscon, Ningji's words had successfully infuriated him. Hinata looked around a few times. This plot is so familiar. Wasn't this the scene when the Crown Prince and the Crown Princess first met? Would that yellow-furred little fox suddenly jump out from a corner and shout, "Stop!" Stage an unsuccessful scene of a hero saving the damsel in distress? Bang! 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 Hinata couldn't bear to watch. Ningji was so ruthless. The 3 brats' eyes were even whiter than Hinata's. Although he looked miserable after being beaten up, Ningji still had a sense of propriety. He slightly controlled his strength. It was a little painful, but it wouldn't be a big problem. Naruto still didn't appear. It seemed that they wouldn't meet this time. Ningji snorted softly, then turned to Hinata and said softly, "Okay, let's go." Hinata nodded obediently. As the eldest daughter of the Hyuga family, it was really unladylike to fight. Anyway, Ningji, the little bodyguard, was there. Although Hinata's current image had no image, she was holding a lot of food in her arms. Well, the main thing was that she couldn't spare the time to beat people. Otherwise, Hinata would still want to do it herself. As soon as they walked out of the alley, Hinata raised her head slightly, and her expression suddenly froze. These 2 people, the second young master and a brother complex. Ningji obviously also noticed the Uchiha brothers. He turned his head slightly and pulled Hinata away. The arrogant second young master snorted, obviously dissatisfied with the Hyuga clan. Alas! This is the wrong education of the elders. Hinata's cheap father, Hyogo, has taught Hinata more than once that when he grows up, he must defeat Itachi Uchiha. Defeat my Itachi god. This is really a difficult task. Since the Senju clan fell, the relationship between Uchiha and Hyuga became complicated. Both are dojutsu clans, both have thousands of years of inheritance. The gap between the 3 Tomo Sharingan and the Byakugan is not big. Although Uchiha is stronger than Hyuga, Hyuga has developed very rapidly in recent years. The role of the Byakugan in the war is far greater than that of the Sharingan, which can only fight alone. The reputation of the Byakugan in Shinobu is much better than that of Uchiha. Hinata looked back at the Uchiha brothers, and Itachi Uchiha also looked back. Hinata nodded slightly to express his gratitude. Itachi Uchiha just stood there. He should have noticed the situation in the alley. Speaking of which, Itachi Uchiha is in the limelight this year. The 10-year-old Itachi Uchiha has become a Chunin, and he is the first ninja in Shinobu's history to take and pass the Chunin exam alone. Since the Nine Tails attacked the village 5 years ago, the Uchiha situation has become delicate. This clan is not only isolated by the village, but also closely monitored by the Umbu. Except for a few people, almost no one can go out of the village to perform tasks. Uchiha is eager to prove his strength and genius, and this heavy burden fell on the 10-year-old Itachi Uchiha. In fact, Hinata doesn't agree with Itachi Uchiha's approach. Anyway, if Hinata were to choose, he would definitely choose his own clan. After strolling on the street for a while, the sign of Ichiraku Ramen appeared in front of Hinata. Brother Niji, I'll treat you to ramen. Hinata has completely forgotten that his pocket money originally belonged to Niji, and he pulled Niji and invited him to eat with enthusiasm. Niji hesitated. That's not good, it's time to eat at home. It doesn't matter. How can the food at home be better than outside? The so-called flowers at home are not as fragrant as wild flowers. Hyuga family's food is exquisite, beautiful, and delicious, but in Hinata's opinion, the food outside is better. He doesn't know if it's because this body is relatively young, but Hinata is similar to a child most of the time. Fortunately, his IQ hasn't degenerated to the level of a child, so Hinata doesn't care too much. Seeing that Hinata has run to Ichiraku Ramen and sat down, Niji had no choice but to accompany Hinata to eat ramen. To be honest, although the taste of Ichiraku Ramen is good, it's not as good as what Naruto said. False advertising. Okay. There's one more reason to beat up Naruto. Hinata doesn't know if Naruto has foreseen the danger in advance, but in the past 6 months, he hasn't even seen Naruto's face. On the contrary, today he met the second young master and Itachi God. Although he didn't talk to them, it was very satisfying to see them with his own eyes. And Hinata doesn't want to have anything to do with this family that is about to be exterminated. Slurp. Slurp. After eating the last mouthful of ramen, Niji turned to Hinata and said, Miss Hinata, we should go back. Alas. Okay. It's almost 5 o'clock. If they don't go home now, they will probably be scolded. Chapter 4. Although the daily learning tasks are heavy, Hinata still enjoys it. Everything in the ninja world is very novel to Hinata. Time passes quickly, but it also seems to be very slow. Niji has been in the ninja school for a year, and is the first in the same class. Hinata is also 6 years old, and in a few days he will go to the ninja school to report. Sitting barefoot on the wooden cloister, with a pot of tea next to him, looking at a few white clouds floating in the blue sky, Hinata enjoyed the rare peace after training. Speaking of which, Hinata's little sister, Hyuga Hanabi, has been born. Her round little face is red and very cute. However, since the birth of Hanabi, Hyogo has paid more attention to Hinata. If there is no accident, when Hinata grows up and Hyogo retires as the patriarch, Hinata will inherit the main family, and Hanabi will be marked with the caged bird curse and become the branch family to protect Hinata. However, Hinata doesn't care. When his mother opens the Tensigen, and when Naruto becomes Naruto, changing the Hyuga clan is not a big deal. In the past year, Hinata's mastery of Gentle Fist has reached perfection. Although he hasn't mastered the various secret techniques of Gentle Fist, it should be enough to hang up the kids in the ninja school. Especially a certain arrogant Sasuke. Hinata doesn't hold grudges, but a year ago, when he met the Uchiha brothers on the street, Hinata still remembered Sasuke's cold snort. Sooner or later, he will teach you a lesson. Speaking of which, Hinata doesn't like Gentle Fist. Hyuga family's Gentle Fist is practiced step by step, and the highest achievement is only Kage level. In the current Hyuga family, the strongest person was only a quasi-Kage. Throughout the entire Naruto anime, apart from Kaihuang who had opened the Hashiman Tanku, only Tsunade's extraordinary strength fist was decent. In the 4 Shinobi World Wars, the Hyuga clan, known as the strongest clan of the Shinobu clan, could only be a bystander. If it wasn't for the fact that Supercilious Eye had some scouting abilities, he probably wouldn't even be qualified to be a bystander. Although the 8 inner hidden gates was very strong, not to mention the aftereffects of the 8 inner hidden gates, the requirement of practicing Gentle Fist was to precisely control the chakra. After opening the 8 inner hidden gates, Berserk chakra was obviously not suitable for soft fists. Besides, Hinata didn't want to be a masochistic cultivator. After all, Hinata's third wish was to have the talent to beat Uchiha Madara. Hinata was determined to be the first ninja to use Gentle Fist. Now Hinata's daily sparring partner has changed from Hyuga Niji to Hinata Takuma. Poor genius Niji, now he didn't even have the qualification to spar with Hinata. In view of this, Niji was almost desperate to practice during this time. And with the guidance of his father Hyuga Hizashi, his strength is estimated to be a bit stronger than the same period in the original work. According to Hyogo, Hinata now has the strength of a genin, a little stronger than the genius ninja Kakashi. As for the amount of chakra in a Kekkei Genkai family is stronger than ordinary ninjas. Hinata's talent is excellent, and the amount of chakra is far beyond his peers. Tap tap. Light footsteps came. Hinata looked back. It turned out to be his cheap father Hyogo. Father-sama. Sitting next to Hinata, Hyogo whispered. The day after tomorrow, you will go to the ninja school to report. With your strength, you are enough to graduate early. Apply for graduation in half a year. I don't want to. In the matter of graduation, Hinata will never comply with Hyogo's will and will never compromise. At the age of 12, performing a task is already considered child labor. At the age of 6, I am still a child. Why? Although Hinata pretends to be well-behaved at home, Hyogo also knows what his eldest daughter is like after leaving home. But this is also good. Ninjas still have their own opinions and judgment. Hinata said discontentedly. I am only 6 years old. Isn't it too cruel to let me perform a task at the age of 6? Hyogo. Although Hyogo wants to tell Hinata about the glorious history of Kakashi and the Uchiha clan's Itachi Uchiha. But after all, boys and girls are still different. Moreover, according to Hinata's talent, practicing with peace of mind is the best for Hinata. Hyogo pondered. Going to the ninja school is too much of a waste of time for you. When you graduate, I will personally train you. I don't want to. Hyogo was a little annoyed. Why? Hinata snorted. It's not a waste of time to go to the ninja school, and I can practice with my classmates and make some friends. It's too boring at home. When it comes to making friends, Hinata doesn't have any friends except for Niji, her childhood sweetheart. Although these are unnecessary feelings for ninjas, ninjas are still human after all. Hyogo pondered for a moment. In fact, there is nothing wrong with letting his daughter go through the normal ninja process. She can graduate from the ninja school, and then team up with her classmates to perform tasks under the leadership of a jonin. This is the form of a ninja village. Although the Hyuga family has some privileges, after all, this is the era of the ninja village, and the privileges that the first Naruto promised to the ninja family are no longer applicable now. Unable to adapt to the era, they can only be like the Uchiha. Thinking of the Uchiha clan, Hyogo finally nodded. Well, let's do it according to your idea. Hyogo slowly got up and prepared to leave. Hinata stood up and bowed. Father-sama, take care. As soon as Hyogo took a step, Hinata's small face became serious. Her feet moved slightly, and silently jumped into the air. Her small feet kicked on the pillar, and rushed to Hyogo. Using the soft fist, she hit Hyogo's back. Pa! Hyuga Hayashi easily parried Hinata's sneak attack and pointed out. There are too many useless moves, and they're not clean and neat enough. Alas! The 65th sneak attack failed again. However, Hyogo didn't know what to say. With Hinata's height, if she didn't jump up, she could only hit Hyogo's thigh. Hyogo put Hinata on the ground, then turned and left. He thought that Hinata's sneak attack was just a naughty child throwing a tantrum, but he didn't. No. Dao. Hinata really wanted to beat him, and it wasn't just a day or two ago that she wanted to beat him. Without training, Hinata had nothing to do and returned to her salted fish appearance. Hanabi was less than a year old. Although she was cute, she couldn't play with Hinata. Remembering that in the manga, Hana seemed to be a sister complex, and she worshipped Hinata very much. Thinking about it this way, Hinata really had the life of a female lead. If it weren't for the fact that she was so useless in the manga that Hyogo gave up on her, she would be loved by everyone. Go to school. Hinata took a sip of tea. She was about to meet the 8 unyielding experts, and she didn't know what they were like when they were young. Chapter 5. At the gate of the Ninja Academy, Hyogo held Hinata's small hand and slowly walked from the end of the street. Yo. Hayashi. Hearing someone greet them, Hinata and Hyogo turned their heads together. It turned out to be Uchiha Fugaku and Sasuke. Hey, shouldn't the person who sent Sasuke to school be Itachi? How did it become Fugaku? Hinata scratched his head. It's been 6 years, and he almost forgot the story of Naruto. It's you. Hyogo said faintly. At Hayashi and Fugaku's level, they naturally wouldn't be hostile to each other just because of Uchiha and Hyuga. The young people in the clan are hot-blooded, but Hayashi and Fugaku's temperament has already matured. What they care about is not only strength, but also benefits. Humans. The older they get, the more complicated they become. Glancing at Hinata, Uchiha Fugaku said lightly, "This is Hinata." Sasuke secretly glanced at Hinata, then snorted and turned his head away. Hinata was too lazy to pay attention to Sasuke. This arrogant boy, except for Naruto, I'm afraid no one can cure him. Hyogo nodded and looked down at Hinata with a complicated expression. Hyogo believes that Hinata's talent is not below Itachi Uchiha, but Uchiha clan's Sharingan, although after Uchiha Madara, the Uchiha clan hasn't opened Mangekyo for decades, but with Itachi Uchiha's talent, it's not impossible. After all, Itachi has joined the Umbu department. Shinobu's position in the security department not only made the Uchiha clan arrogant, but also restricted them from going out to perform tasks. Without a battle of life and death, without witnessing the death of a good friend, it was naturally difficult for the Uchiha to activate the kaleidoscope. Although there were many Uchiha clansmen now, there were very few truly powerful warriors among them. Hayashi and Fugaku were not talkative people. After a simple greeting, they brought Hinata and Sasuke to the school to register. The registration went smoothly. Hinata easily passed the simple test. After the classes were assigned, Hinata went to report to class while Hyogo went home. Walking into the classroom, Hinata looked around. Most of the students were sitting in the back row. There was almost no one in the front row. Hinata was determined to become a prodigy, so he naturally had to sit at the front. Its supercilious eyes. I heard that she's the eldest daughter of the Hyuga family. So cute. Hearing the discussions behind him, Hinata suddenly felt a little ashamed. Although it feels good to be praised. But if you don't show that lecherous expression, Hinata may be happier. After a while, everyone in the class arrived. Hinata was a little surprised. Weren't the 9 Xiaochang from the same class? Counting the number of people in the class, Naruto and Sakura weren't there. Thinking about it carefully, Hinata had a rough idea. Everyone's foundation was different before entering the school. Naturally, they couldn't be in the same class at the beginning. For example, a ninja like Hinata already had the foundation of a ninja before entering the school. What about Naruto and Sakura? Sakura more or less received elementary education before entering the school. Naruto probably didn't even know how to read. Even if the children in the ninja world are generally precocious, at the age of 6, he didn't even go to elementary school in his previous life. Coupled with the fact that the ninja world doesn't pay enough attention to cultural education, those ninjas from civilian families can only start from learning how to read. Sure enough, in this life, he and Naruto are no longer fated to be together. There weren't many things to do on the first day. A simple self-introduction, then received the textbook, listened to the teacher's words, and officially ended school. Hinata was about to go home with a small school bag, but he heard a young voice behind him. Hinata, are you interested in a battle before school officially starts? Someone actually challenged me? Hinata suppressed the excitement in his heart and looked back. Unsurprisingly, the challenger was Sasuke. As the descendant of Hyuga and Uchiha, and also the child of the clan leader, Sasuke at this time was more concerned about Hinata. After all, Hinata's reputation at this time was different. Under the efforts of the Hyuga clan, Hinata has become the genius young lady of the Hyuga family. What makes Sasuke even more angry is that his father, Uchiha Fugaku, has personally praised Hinata. The current Sasuke is not the cold, Shinibu protagonist who likes to show off in the future. At this time, Sasuke is just a little boy who wants to be praised by his father. His overly excellent brother Itachi Uchiha gave him too much pressure. He is eager to get his father's approval, even if it's just a word. Okay. Hinata nodded her small head, reluctantly agreed. Sasuke is very displeased with Hinata. The two families are opposite. He wants to prove who is better between the two. Sasuke put down his school bag and put on an attacking posture. Seeing Hinata didn't move, he asked puzzledly, "Why don't you put down your school bag?" Hinata waved her small hand and said, "It's too dirty to put it on the ground, and it's troublesome to carry it again later. It doesn't matter. You can attack me." Sasuke gritted his teeth in anger. Hinata's attitude shows that he is looking down on him. There seems to be a fight over there. It's Uchiha and Hyuga. Go and tell the teacher. Sasuke is really handsome. The fighting atmosphere between Hinata and Sasuke quickly attracted everyone's attention. The senior class hasn't ended yet, and the people who surrounded them were all freshmen. Hinata saw a lot of girls crazily praising Sasuke, but no one was willing to praise him. So angry. This time, there is one more reason to beat up Sasuke. The 6-year-old Sasuke only knows a simple 3-body technique. While running and making hand seals, 2 doppelgangers rush to Hinata. Although he hasn't opened the Byakugan, this level of doppelganger technique can't fool Hinata. This may be the advantage of the Dojutsu family. When Sasuke approached, Hinata's feet moved slightly, blocking Sasuke's momentum, raised his left hand and blocked Sasuke's small fist with his elbow, and at the same time blocked Sasuke's eyes with his left hand, blocking his vision. Without waiting for Sasuke to change his move, Hinata's right palm gently patted Sasuke's abdomen, and Sasuke's body suddenly froze in place. Ugh! Painfully holding his stomach and stepping back a few steps, Sasuke forced himself not to fall down, looking at Hinata with some grievances in his eyes. Last night's meal was about to be vomited. Fortunately, he swallowed it back, so he didn't lose face in public. Humph. Without learning ninjutsu, without opening the Sharingan, he still wants to compete with the Hyuga clan in taijutsu. Isn't he looking for trouble? Although Sasuke is also known as a genius, his performance as a teenager is far from Itachi Uchiha and Kakashi. I'm going home, bye-bye. See you tomorrow. Hinata waved his small hand, turned around and left without looking back. Beating little Sasuke is just too cool. Chapter 6. In the ninja world, intelligence is the most important thing, and news has always been passed quickly here. As soon as Hinata returned home, he was called by Hyogo. Did you fight with Uchiha, Sasuke? Hyogo was obviously very satisfied with Hinata's victory, and when he spoke he deliberately mentioned the name Uchiha. Hey, don't be too presumptuous. Uchiha Fugaku has secretly opened his Mangekyo Sharingan, and he can beat you. Yes. Father-sama. Hinata said seriously with a well-behaved posture. Uchiha Sasuke challenged me, and for the glory of the Hyuga family, I had to accept the challenge. Well, very good. Hyogo nodded with satisfaction and then said, although you defeated Sasuke, his brother Itachi Uchiha was promoted to Chunin last year, and now he has joined the Anbu. The strength of the Anbu is naturally not as weak as it was in the original manga. The minimum requirement to join the Anbu is to have the strength of an elite Chunin, and if you become a captain, you will be a Jonin. Itachi Uchiha became the captain of the Anbu at the age of 13, relying on his 3-tomo Sharingan. If he uses his Mangekyo Sharingan, he will at least have the strength of a quasi-Kage. If he goes all out, he will have the strength to fight against a Kage-level master. Hinata nodded seriously and said, I know, Father-sama. The rapid growth period of a ninja is from the age of 12 to 20, and this period is not only the growth period of the body, but also the maturity of the mind. Chakra is the combination of cell energy and spiritual energy, and in this period, even the amount of chakra will be greatly increased. Hyogo said, it's the first day of school, go back and rest and continue training in the evening. Back in his small room, Hinata fell on the bed and didn't want to move at all. Although he wants to gain the strength of a ninja, but training is too tiring. Hinata was a little annoyed. If he had known this would happen, he would have made a wish that he could become stronger while lying down. She had to pretend to be a rich young lady at home, but she also had to maintain the image of a lady when she went out. She could not embarrass the Hyuga family. Although his life was very corrupt, the price he had to pay was also very high. I'm afraid I can only live the life I want after defeating Hyogo. Shinobu Village, which appeared calm on the surface, had a turbulent undercurrent. During the Nine Tails Rebellion, Shinobu lost a large number of elite ninjas. 4th Naruto Namikaze Minato and the mature Nine Tails Jinchuriki were all killed in the battle against the Nine Tails. The Naruto clan was short on manpower, but the strength of the Shinobi clan was constantly increasing. Hinata was the eldest daughter of the family, and the future successor of the Hyuga family. Even though she was still young, she had to shoulder her responsibilities. Let's talk about a conspiracy theory. In the original manga, Shinobu's plan to collapse, the experts of the major Shinobu clans seemed to take action after the death of the 3 generations Naruto. The rise of the civilian ninjas was destined to cede part of the benefits of the Shinobi clan. In fact, at this stage, the major Shinobi clans were still calm. After all, they were not strong enough. Even the Hyuga clan, in the face of Shinobu's more than 30,000 ninjas, didn't have the confidence to shout. What's more, now there was the Uchiha clan in the front. Since Shinobu Village was built, the Uchiha clan has been suppressed by the village. In the Nine Tails incident, the Uchiha clan was a major suspect. In history, the Nine Tails was only controlled by the Manjikyu Sharingan. Now the Uchiha clan has migrated to the corner of the village, and it was already a village within a village. Hinata could still see the situation clearly. Hyogo's idea was to let the Uchiha clan in the front to test the actual situation of the village. The Uchiha clan's coup is absolutely impossible. Except for the Uchiha clan, no ninja in Shinobu clan will recognize the Uchiha clan. If the village is really weak, Hyogo doesn't mind taking the opportunity to steal some power. However, at the moment, the Hyuga clan is still very honest. Hyogo didn't even participate in the village's decision-making. As long as it's Naruto's opinion, he agrees. In fact, the period from the Nine Tails attack to the Uchiha clan's extermination was the fastest period of development of Root. Naruto clan was weak, and the 3 generations Naruto also urgently needed a force that could suppress the Uchiha clan, but couldn't be used as a surprise weapon. In the manga, after the Uchiha clan's extermination, the 3 generations quickly took back Danzo's power. From this point of view, the political wisdom of the 3 generations is still not bad. Danzo really didn't play with him in his life. Of course, the 3 generations also really love Shinobu. This is undeniable. The village's affairs seem to have little to do with the 6-year-old Hinata, but as the eldest daughter of the Hyuga family, even if it's for herself, Hinata has to ensure that the Hyuga clan can continue to be strong. The Uchiha clan's extermination is undoubtedly a warning. From then on, until the 3 generations Naruto died in battle, Shinobu clan's ninja clan is relatively honest. Hinata held her little head and thought for a while, and finally realized something. Naruto clan is too powerful. With the strength of the Hyuga family, they can't fight at all. Even if Hinata opened the Tenseigan in the future, Naruto still obtained the power of the 6 paths and the tailed beast hack. It seems that in the anime, even Otsutsuki Tonari was defeated by Naruto. And Naruto also has a good friend who is equally strong. In fact, with the status of the Hyuga family, there is no need to fight for the village's power. As long as they ensure that they are strong, the power will naturally be delivered to the Hyuga family. If you are not strong enough, you will only be courting death if you stand out. Hyogo is still very smart. She seems to not fight, but in fact, she has always been fighting. Sure enough, I don't need to worry about the village's affairs at all. Hinata thought for a while and finally gave up on these mundane things. Anyway, these have nothing to do with Hinata. Hyogo will take care of everything in front of her. I just need to practice well and be a good young lady. Turning over, Hinata looked at the ceiling with a dull gaze. I'm so stupid. Originally, Hinata wanted to rely on her own efforts to gain strength. Cheats are not important at all. Xiao Li's words of defeating geniuses with hard work are really exciting. But it's really difficult to survive without cheats. Although Hinata has the Tensigen hack and the aptitude hack, it's not good enough. Hard work may be able to defeat geniuses, but it can't defeat cheats. It seems on the moon, there is someone who has a crush on me. Hinata pondered for a moment and silently calculated in his heart. Niji who has a sister complex, Hanabi who has a sister complex, Naruto who has a crush on her in his previous life, Sasuke who doesn't see eye to eye, Otsutsuki Tonari who has a crush on him on the moon. The big boss of the ninja world, Otsutsuki Kagaya, is my ancestor. I really have the destiny of a heroine. If people bully me in the future, I'll just let them do it. With these people protecting me, can my Hyuga family fall? Speaking of which, Shinobu in Legend of Bo seems to have experienced a bigger disaster, but Hinata didn't watch it, so he doesn't know what the situation is. I hope it doesn't affect the Hyuga family. After all, Hinata in Legend of Bo is probably already the patriarch of the Hyuga family. Chapter 7. After dinner, Hinata took the time to see his little sister Hanabi. Lying on the edge of the small bed, Hinata wanted to poke Hanabi's round little face, but he didn't expect that Hanabi would put his finger in her mouth. Soft little tongue, so cute. He heard that Hanabi will be a great beauty when she grows up. Hinata looked at himself, alas. Even if he went to see a German orthopedic doctor, he wouldn't have a chance. But he can't see Niji. Hinata took back his finger, and a string of sparkling saliva stuck on it. Ha ha ha. Hanabi laughed inexplicably. Hinata wiped his hands with a towel, and wiped the corner of Hanabi's mouth with disgust. After playing with Hanabi for a while, seeing that it was almost time for the evening training, Hinata hurriedly ran to the practice room and received Hyogo's training. The next day, the ninja school officially opened. Hinata came to school early in the morning with a small school bag. As soon as he walked into the class, Hinata immediately received the attention of the whole class. Among them, Sasuke's eyes were the most hot. Hinata didn't care about the eyes of a group of little brats. This old mother is cold. Sasuke, this guy, will probably be scolded when he goes home yesterday, but the biggest possibility is that he will face Uchiha Fugaka's disappointed eyes, which will definitely be a huge blow to Sasuke. Walking to the first row and sitting down, a little girl next to Hinata glanced at him, then snorted, proudly put her books in her school bag, and then sat in the second row. Hinata. Am I the public enemy of all girls? Hinata glanced at Sasuke, and it happened that Sasuke was also peeking at Hinata, and their eyes met in midair, and then the two turned their heads very tacitly. Sasuke, this guy, if used the words of the heroines in idol dramas, is handsome and rich, and his family is a ninja. As for Hinata, who has the title of genius, and a well-matched young lady, in idol dramas, she should be reduced to a female cannon fodder, or perhaps a vicious female villain, the kind that will be ridiculed by the audience. The ninja school's curriculum is still very useful. The teacher teaches according to the aptitude. Hinata's class, in addition to continuing to learn cultural classes, has already begun to learn ninja knowledge. In the afternoon is outdoor class. The teacher will teach shuriken throwing, taijutsu fighting, physical training, and so on. Today's lesson was shuriken, and several classes were in the same class. Hinata glanced around and found the yellow-haired fox she had been looking for more than a year. Naruto and Sakura were in the same class. Naruto's feelings for Sakura should have been established at this time. At this time, Sakura was still a girl with no confidence, her long bangs hanging down, covering her wide forehead. Naruto was disliked in Shinobu, although Sakura also dislikes Naruto, but Sakura's reason for disliking Naruto is different from others. The reason is very simple, ugly. Naruto, who is sensitive, is attracted by the different Sakura. After seeing the original work's 7th class, Hinata curiously looked at his teammates. Inazukaya holding the puppy, and who is it? As for Ino, Shika, and Cho, although the three of them grew up together, but at this time Ino obviously disliked the lazy and fat combination, and basically didn't play with them at school. The teachers of each class explained the throwing skills of shuriken, and then gave the students wooden shuriken for them to practice. Hinata is not very interested in shuriken, and usually just casually practice. Speaking of which, Hinata actually has an ultimate dream for shuriken. When Shinobu's collapse plan begins, Orochimaru will summon the first Naruto, and Hinata plans to throw a shuriken at the first Naruto from 800 miles away, and add a 4-purple flame formation. In the future, Hinata can go around bragging that he is a ninja who fought with the first Naruto. Just as Hinata was lost in her thoughts, she suddenly noticed a group of people approaching her. What's the situation? Hinata turned his head to look. Sasuke awkwardly walked to Hinata's side. Without looking at Hinata, he picked up the shuriken and threw it at the target. All 3 shurikens hit the bullseye. After all, he was personally trained by Itachi, and Sasuke's shuriken technique is quite good. After throwing the shurikens, Sasuke's face was full of pride, and his eyes glanced at Hinata from time to time, and his posture of showing off was obvious. A group of infatuated girls screamed, and Hinata's teeth itched. If he had made a wish to have the Rinnegan, maybe he would have become Sasuke. And then wouldn't these infatuated girls worship him? Before Hinata could move, a golden flash appeared, and Naruto squeezed through the crowd and stood next to Sasuke, and also took out a shuriken, made a posture that he thought was very handsome, and threw the shuriken towards the target. Seeing that Naruto's shuriken was flying towards the teacher, Hinata's fingers holding the shuriken gently flicked, and the shuriken flew out and collided with Naruto's shuriken in midair. The 2 shurikens changed direction at the same time, and hit the bullseye of the 2 targets. Hit! Naruto roared, and even he was surprised by the result, but it didn't prevent him from showing off his strength to Sasuke. There are not many people who can see how exquisite Hinata's move is, and many people don't even know that Hinata made a move. Except for the teacher of the ninja school, only Sasuke knows how amazing Hinata's move is. If he cooperates with himself, as long as he trains hard, he can also play with the shuriken. But Hinata cooperates with Naruto. Not only does he have to calculate the angle and strength of Naruto's shuriken in an instant, but he also has to immediately calculate how to cooperate with Naruto to make the 2 shurikens hit the bullseye at the same time. This is not something that ordinary people can do. Well, although Hinata just casually trained the shuriken, don't forget Hinata's talent. That's a talent that can easily beat Madara's with just a little practice. In other words, Hinata's shuriken throwing technique is at least stronger than Uchiha Madara of the same period. Sasuke was a little frustrated. Even his best shuriken is not as good as Hinata. How can he compete? Unless he opens the Sharingan. But he also has the Byakugan. At this time, Sasuke didn't know that there is a stronger Mangekyo Sharingan above the 3-Tomo Sharingan. The Byakugan of the Hyuga clan is actually not inferior to the 3-Tomo Sharingan. And the Sharingan is only a dojutsu that a few people in the Uchiha clan can have, but the Byakugan is a general ability of the Hyuga clan. Shinobu is the strongest clan. It's really not just a casual statement. Ignoring Sasuke, Hinata looked at Naruto with a smile and said with a warm voice, "You are very good. What's your name?" Hearing the voice, Naruto looked back and saw a cute little girl smiling at him, and saying that he was very good. Chapter 8. Are you talking to me? Naruto's face was full of disbelief, a little shy, a little timid, and at the same time, a little uncertain. He has been alone for too long. Even if children occasionally take him to play, they will soon be stopped by adults. Even the descendants of ninja families like Shikamaru, Choji, and Inuzuka will deliberately alienate Naruto under the orders of adults. Shisanara certainly won't hate Naruto because of his identity as a demon fox, like ordinary people, but Naruto is the Nine-Tails Jinchuriki after all, and some taboos still have to be avoided. After going to the ninja school, Naruto's situation improved a lot. Hinata was a little proud in her heart and smiled sweetly. "Of course, you are very powerful." I am very powerful. Naruto scratched the back of his head, and was intoxicated in his fantasy with a silly smile on his face. Master Ball. Naruto has successfully captured it. A simple and gullible kid like Naruto can be taken away with a lollipop. What's more, a little lady like Hinata, many years of aristocratic etiquette make Hinata have a princess temperament, coupled with Hinata's cute appearance. A smile can capture the heart of a young man. Well, for the time being, Naruto is the third knight. Knight number 1 is of course Niji. Knight number 2 is Otsutsuki Tonari, and Naruto can only be ranked in the 3rd position for the time being. In fact, speaking of Otsutsuki Tonari, this guy came to the ninja world with his father when he was a child and met Hinata in the unique way of the Otsutsuki clan. He thought she was very cute and selected her as his wife. I don't know if Knight number 2 has peeped at me now. Hinata rubbed her face and quickly dispelled these thoughts. I am the goddess in the hearts of countless Naruto fans. How can I be a scheming woman? Simple, kind, silly, and sweet is the real me. Hinata's whole body shuddered. While Naruto was giggling, Hinata quickly retreated into the crowd and disappeared. After practicing the shuriken for the whole afternoon, the teacher asked everyone to throw the shuriken in order to test the results of the day's practice. As expected, Sasuke coincidentally appeared next to Hinata, showing off his superb shuriken throwing skills and getting a full score, causing a burst of screams. Naughty children are really the most annoying. Especially when Sasuke was a competitive brat. Naturally, Hinata was not bad either. He got full marks with a casual toss. And Naruto finally revealed his true strength. He was really strong. Even Chunin-sensei was almost killed by Naruto's shuriken after school. Hinata carried her school bag and was about to go home when she heard Naruto's shout behind her. Hinata turned around. Naruto scratched his head and asked embarrassedly, "My name is Naruto. Uzumaki Naruto, what's your name?" Speaking of which, during the afternoon's outdoor class, Hinata asked Naruto's name, but Naruto was stupid and did not answer. Hinata smiled sweetly as usual and said, "My name is Hinata. Swish. A shadow flashed and Hinata Takuma appeared beside Hinata and whispered, "Miss, it's time to go home." Hinata nodded and then waved to Naruto and said, "I'm leaving." Naruto's identity was actually very awkward. Ordinary people thought that he was a demon fox and did not dare to get close to him. The ninjas knew that the village's higher-ups valued the Nine-Tails Jinchuriki, so naturally, they would not let their descendants come in contact with Naruto. Hinata Takuma's appearance was actually to prove to the village that Hinata's contact with Naruto was an accident, and not an order from the Hyuga family. After walking a distance, Hinata Takuma whispered to Hinata, "Miss, please don't contact that child in the future." Hinata was confused and asked, "Why?" Hinata Takuma said gently, "Miss, you don't need to know for now. Hayashi-sama also doesn't want you to contact that child." Okay. Hinata still understood the rules. Naturally, she would not care about Naruto's background just because she pitied him. Besides, Naruto did not need to be pitied. He was very tenacious. She only needed to acknowledge his strength. However, it was normal for children to be disobedient. If Naruto took the initiative to come over, Hinata certainly would not drive him away. Anyway, the bait had been cast. The future 7th generation Naruto was still young. How could he not seize the opportunity to protect his thigh? In the future, the Hyuga family would rely on him. Tonight, there were 2 teenagers 6 years old. They should be boys, 2 boys destined to be sleepless because of Hinata. Naruto was lying on the bed, tossing and turning, unable to sleep. Occasionally, he would show a silly smile. Hinata's smile card master ball had successfully captured Naruto. This poor child, for the first time in his life, he met a girl who smiled at him, praised him, and even exchanged names with him. Naruto's whole person seemed to be in a period of youthful excitement. As soon as he closed his eyes, his mind was full of someone's pure and lovely smile. TSK. Uchiha Mansion. The moon was high in the sky. A small figure was still practicing throwing ninja tools over and over again. He was so tired that his whole body was wet, but he did not know how to rest. "Sasuke, it's so late. Are you still practicing?" Itachi Uchiha just came back from a mission. After changing his clothes, he came to see Sasuke. "Yes, brother." Huff huff. Sasuke was sweating. He was already exhausted. After seeing his brother, he immediately lost all his strength and sat on the ground gasping for breath. Itachi walked over and gently rubbed Sasuke's hair. He was also a well-informed person. Naturally, he knew that his stupid brother was defeated by Hinata yesterday. Obviously, Sasuke was stimulated again today. In today's shuriken assessment, Sasuke got 100 points because he only got 100 points. And Hinata got 100 points because the full score was only 100 points. Sasuke looked up at Itachi and said excitedly, "Brother, teach me shuriken." Itachi looked at Sasuke and said, "Tomorrow, your current state is not suitable to continue practicing." Okay then. Sasuke was a little disappointed. And our protagonist Hinata, what is he doing at this time? Compared to Sasuke, who relies on self-awareness to practice, Hinata's daily practice task is actually very easy. Especially after going to the ninja school. Hyogo didn't have time to teach Hinata every day. More often than not, Hinata Takuma accompanied Hinata to practice Gentle Fist. Hinata Takuma is much easier to deal with. Hinata is acting spoiled, acting cute, doing everything possible. Every day he finds various ways to be lazy. Originally, from 7 to 9 o'clock, Hinata has to rest for at least half an hour to an hour during the 2 hours of practice time. But even so, Hinata Takuma still desperately found that the strength of his young miss is improving at an exaggerated speed every day. "Young miss, the fruit is finished. We should practice." "No. Exercising right after eating is not good for the stomach. I will rest for a while, just 10 minutes. "But it's already 8:50. Chapter 9. The days in the ninja school were not as boring as he imagined. Occasionally, he would tease little Naruto and Sasuke to compete for the first place in the year assessment. Looking at the two of them who were obviously angry, but helpless against Hinata, can make people happy for the whole day. Hinata doesn't have the slightest sense of shame for bullying naughty kids. Of course, adults can't argue with children, but Hinata is also a child now, so naturally he doesn't need to worry about anything. If it wasn't for the fact that the two of them aren't big mouths, Hinata's title of Little Overlord will probably be spread throughout Shinobu. In front of people, Hinata still has the appearance of a little lady. In fact, Hinata is not deliberately pretending. In his previous life, Hinata is not a talkative person, and he is also an otaku. He rarely takes the initiative to communicate with people he is not familiar with. Speaking of which, temperament really has a very important relationship with appearance. If you are also taciturn and not sociable, if you are very handsome, you are called cold. If you are cute, you are called a lady. But if you are ugly, then you are antisocial, self-abased, introverted, easy to bully. In addition to Naruto and Sasuke, Hinata will not let go of the other cockroaches. Even if the gap in strength is huge in the future, it will be difficult to fight side by side. But living in Shinobu Village, strength alone is useless. Sasuke and Madara, which one of them is not a guy with strength that defies the heavens, but they are also excluded by the people in the village. Taking advantage of the fact that there are few people in the class, Hinata sneaked to the back of the class, patted Choji's shoulder with his small hand, and threatened in a low voice. "If you don't want to practice with me in the taijutsu class, hurry up and hand over the potato chips." Choji looked at Shikamaru for help. But the result is that this disloyal guy fell asleep. The Hyuga family and the Akuto family were both body technique families. Naturally, no teacher would object to Hinata and Dingji sparring. Hinata looked small and weak, but the gentle fist was a move that attacked the internal organs. With a light pat on the stomach, it was guaranteed that the food from the previous night would be knocked out. The feeling of being punched in the stomach, Dingji swore that he would never experience it a second time in his life. Seeing that Dingji was about to cry, Hinata said angrily, "I don't want all of them. You brought so many snacks. Giving me a bag of chips won't starve you. Don't worry, we're as close as a bag of chips. In the future, if anyone bullies you in school, just use my name." Patting his chest, Hinata proudly said, "From now on I'm your boss." Shikamaru, who was pretending to be asleep, couldn't help but complain. "You really dare to say that? If a teacher bullies Dingji, is there any use in saying your name?" With tears in his eyes, Dingji took out a bag of chips from his bag and gave it to Hinata. In fact, for Dingji, who was addicted to eating, to give the chips to Hinata, it meant that he had recognized Hinata as a friend. If it was someone else, even if he couldn't win, Dingji would fight with his life on the line. For Dingji, this soft and kind little fatty, Hinata had a good impression of him. Every fat man had potential. "Thanks." After getting the potato chips, Hinata returned to her seat and started eating by herself. For the boys and the 9 unyielding experts, Hinata still had a lot of methods. But for the girls, Hinata had no idea. Some people might ask, Hinata himself was a girl, why couldn't he make a girlfriend? As for the reason behind this, naturally it was because of Sasuke. Sasuke simply regarded Hinata as a strong opponent and never had any superfluous thoughts. But in the eyes of other girls, Sasuke only cared about Hinata. Humph. Is it great to have a good background? Is it great to be good-looking? So even if they were both girls, if they were rivals, it would be difficult for them to become friends. Sakura and Naruto haven't changed classes yet. The girls in the class, led by Ino, collectively ostracized Hinata. If Hinata wasn't strong enough, he would be bullied every day after school. Seeing Kiba Inuzuka coming back from outside, Hinata waved and said hello. Hello, Akamaru. Woof. Kiba Inuzuka was dissatisfied. Hinata, do you only see Akamaru? Hinata glanced at Kiba Inuzuka, ugly. Akamaru is more cute. Hinata originally planned to raise a ninja dog to play with. For this purpose, he specially visited the Inuzuka family. It's just that the dog is not cute when it grows up. And without the secret technique of the Inuzuka family, its strength is not too strong. So Hinata gave up. In the future, he will find a way to get a summon beast. It has been 4 months since the school started. A month later, it will be the end of the year. A few days later, it will be the final exam. And then there will be a 2-month holiday. In peaceful times, the village is very tolerant of trainee ninja. The purpose of the first Naruto's village was to prevent children from being persecuted by war. Although he became a ninja at the age of 12 and began to perform tasks, in Hinata's view, it was also very inhumane. At the end of the next semester, before the start of the 2nd grade, the school will reassign the students according to their grades. For example, Kiba Inuzuka, who skipped classes, and Shikamaru, who slept in class, will probably be assigned to other classes. Choji will probably be assigned to another class. Sakura's theoretical results are good. Maybe she will be assigned to Hinata's class. In Naruto's original story, there are many memories of the school days, and the 9 Xiaochang are not in the same class. It's just before the graduation of the 6th grade. The village gathered the 9 Xiaochang in the same class. Hinata held his small head and thought, and soon the class bell rang. A lot of knowledge in the ninja school is quite simple for Hinata. It's just a new language. Hinata needs to learn it again. As long as he understands, Hinata will also learn with the bad students in the class, sleep on the table, or read some extracurricular books that children can read. Occasionally, on a whim, Hinata will also practice chakra's control. Of course, Hinata, who has lazy cancer, just casually practice. The word hard work doesn't match Hinata's style at all. In fact, many people have a misunderstanding about the Hyuga clan. Because no Hyuga clan ninja in the original story used ninjutsu, they think that the Hyuga clan can't use ninjutsu. As the eldest daughter of the Hyuga family, Hinata is necessary to correct the Hyuga family. This statement is actually wrong. The Hyuga clan has no special physique except for the Byakugan, so they can naturally learn ninjutsu. In the official setting, Niji is a water, fire, and earth 3 attribute ninja, and Hinata is a thunder and fire dual attribute ninja. It's just that the power of Gentle Fist made the Hyuga family give up these ninjutsu. Gentle Fist can be used in close combat, long range, control, and defense, covering almost all the characteristics of ninjutsu, and more importantly, it doesn't need hand seals. Moves such as air palm, air splitting palm, mountain break, and other moves are powerful long-range attacks. And the 80 Gods air strike used by Otsutsuki Kagaya is the ultimate secret of Gentle Fist. Chapter 10. Hinata, a heretic from the Hyuga family, is far more interested in ninjutsu than Gentle Fist. Gentle Fist is elegant and beautiful, but ninjutsu is cool. Since he came to the ninja world, how can he not learn a few ninjutsu? Unfortunately, the Hyuga family will never teach Hinata ninjutsu, because it is a waste of time. In the ninja world, there are only 4 ways to learn ninjutsu. First, the family teaches. Second, after graduation, the team leader teaches. Third, work hard to perform tasks, and then apply to the village to learn. Fourth, take someone as a teacher and teach them ninjutsu in the name of teacher and disciple. Because of this, in the Shinobi World War, a large number of chunin can only use shuriken and taijutsu to fight. Of course, using ninjutsu to waste chakra is also an important factor. Time flies. Hinata continues to waste time in the ninja school. Like graduating early, working hard to improve himself, performing tasks and breaking through in life and death situations, and so on, are not suitable for Hinata. Anyway, the ninja world will be saved by Naruto and Sasuke. And Hinata is now very powerful. In the second year, Hinata has already begun to learn various secret techniques of gentle fist. For the heir of the Hyuga family, Hinata can learn all kinds of secret techniques of gentle fist. Of the 8 trigrams palm, Hinata has mastered 32 palms, empty palm, strike body and many other moves. Even revolving heaven has almost mastered it, but it's still not enough. For the time being, she can't achieve a 360-degree defense without any blind spots. He really learned it just by casually practicing. At the beginning of the first semester of the second year, the Uchiha family massacre happened unknowingly. Remember that day, the school organized an outdoor exercise, and it was not until 9 o'clock in the evening that school was over. The next day, the atmosphere of the whole village was strange, and there was an indescribable depression. The ninjas on the street all looked solemn, as if something big happened in the village, and they wanted to say it, but because of the rules they couldn't say it. When Hinata returned home from school, he was informed by Hyogo that the Uchiha clan had been exterminated. Hyogo's expression was quite dignified. The extermination of the Uchiha clan was undoubtedly a wake-up call for all shinobu clans. Times have changed. The current shinobi world is no longer the era of the Warring States period, it's the era of the ninja village. Those who couldn't fit into the new era would definitely be abandoned by the era. Everyone has to learn how to survive in the new era. In fact, after several shinobi world wars, most of the ninjas have integrated into the village. Even the Hyuga clan is now Shinobu's Hyuga clan. However, the Hyuga family was, after all, a bloodline family. In order to preserve the purity of their bloodline, they were not allowed to marry outsiders. Unless you're as strong as Naruto and can save the ninja world. And the Uchiha clan in the ninja village era still talked about their clan all day long. They were intoxicated by the glory of the past. Their extermination was actually their own fault. If there's anything that Shinobu did wrong to the Uchiha clan. Although there was, in Hinata's view, the Uchiha clan's problem was bigger. Not to mention the first Hokage. Since the second Hokage Naruto came to power, the position of Shinobu's guard department pushed the Uchiha clan to the edge of the village. Many positions in the guard department overlapped with the Umbu. This position seemed to be glorious, but in fact, it didn't have much power. But in the 3 generations, Naruto, who inherited the will of the first Naruto, actually wanted to repair the relationship between the village and the Uchiha clan. But the Uchiha clan had long lost confidence in the village, and the two sides couldn't communicate. Coupled with the fact that the older generation of Uchiha clan had no feelings for Shinobu, the conflict between the two sides gradually intensified, and the extermination of the clan was reasonable. Even from the village's point of view, they didn't do anything wrong. Of course, the Uchiha clan didn't do anything wrong, it's just that they misjudged the gap in strength between the two sides. A few days later, Shinobu released an official statement, saying that Itachi Uchiha clan killed all his clan members overnight and defected. To be honest, this kind of statement was hard to believe. It's just that the Uchiha clan has become a taboo. And almost no one dares to talk about this clan openly in the village. Coupled with the fact that the Uchiha clan's popularity is not good, naturally, no one will reverse the case for them. Sasuke naturally believed the village's statement. Not to mention that Sasuke is still young and immature, just the fact that Itachi Uchiha left an unforgettable memory for Sasuke before he left is enough to make Sasuke believe this statement. But if you think about it carefully, without the cooperation of the village, how could the ninja school hold an outdoor performance on the day of the Uchiha clan's extermination? Maybe even the 3 generations of Naruto cooperated with Danzo. Sasuke, who witnessed his parents die under his brother's knife, lay in the hospital for 7 days. After waking up, Sasuke became completely silent. The awkward and proud Sasuke from before disappeared. Now Sasuke only has unforgettable hatred. There is no trace of anger in his eyes. Occasionally, when he thinks of Itachi, his expression suddenly becomes ferocious. But for those infatuated girls, the cold Sasuke seems to be more charming. Hinata's simple life was not affected by the Uchiha clan's extermination, but the invisible impact is still a little bit. After the Uchiha clan's extermination, the Hyuga family naturally became the most powerful family in Shinobu, and even the most powerful family in the ninja world. And Hinata is the eldest daughter and the heir of the most powerful family in the ninja world. Compared with the ambitious Uchiha clan, the Hyuga clan strictly adheres to aristocratic etiquette and treats people impeccably in the village. The existence of the Byakugan also allowed the Hyuga clan to win a lot of allies in the past few wars. Although the extermination of the Uchiha clan has caused a lot of shock to the major ninja clans, the three generations also appeased the major clans. The Hyuga family's voice in the village is bigger, but Hyogo is still the same, firmly standing on the side of the Naruto clan. At this time, under the calm surface of Shinobu, there is real peace. After the impact of the Uchiha clan's extermination, the entire village is thriving. Many people found that without the Uchiha clan's eyesores in the village, it is much easier to go out shopping. Now the only unstable factors in the village should be Danzo and Sasuke. It's just that one of the two has just been taken back by Naruto and is now planning to re-establish root, and the other is still young and can't make any trouble. Sasuke, who returned to school, has completely changed, and almost whenever he has the opportunity, he will challenge Hinata. Sasuke has a strong sense of honor for his family, and now he urgently needs to prove the strength of the Uchiha clan, and hopes to provoke the glory of the Uchiha clan with his own strength. Every time he loses to Hinata, Sasuke will deeply hate himself for being weak. If he can't even beat Hinata, how can he take revenge on Itachi Uchiha? Although Hinata feels that Sasuke is very pitiful, he will not go easy on him in the duel. Not only will it be disrespectful to him, but it will also make Sasuke arrogant. Sasuke will not be as arrogant as he was in the original story. Chapter 11. Stare. Secretly observe. This afternoon is taijutsu class, so school is over early. Hinata also doesn't want to go home so early, with his and Niji's pocket money. It would be rude to let Shinobu's food wait too long. Not far from the school gate, Hinata felt that someone is following him. Could it be that someone wants to use the Byakugan? Byakugan. Hinata panicked and quickly opened the Byakugan to observe the surroundings. Uchiha's Sharingan needs to be stimulated to open, and every time the Sharingan evolves, it means experiencing pain. Hyuga family's Byakugan is much easier to open. As long as chakra is enough and masters the method of opening the Byakugan, it will naturally open the Byakugan. In addition to Hinata Takuma, who is hiding in the dark, Naruto and Sasuke are following me. Following me? Hinata shuddered. The two of them won't have any inappropriate thoughts about me, will they? Hinata shook his head. He must be thinking too much. These two boys haven't reached puberty yet. How can they have that kind of ability? Hinata closed the Byakugan as if nothing happened. Anyway, with Hinata Takuma's protection, Hinata is too lazy to care about these two reincarnated immortals. The principle of like repelling like doesn't work on Naruto and Sasuke. From the perspective of reincarnation, these two can be said to have loved and hated each other for 1,000 years. Walking to the snack street, Hinata's arms quickly appeared with a lot of snacks. Although he has the soul of an adult, whether it is the soul that controls the body or the body's physiological reaction that controls the soul, this is a question worth thinking about. Since he transmigrated into a child, especially a girl, Hinata feels that sometimes his behavior is becoming more and more like a child. Walking to Naruto Rock, Hinata sat down and looked down at the scenery of Shinobu. Tricolor meatballs with red bean soup, satisfied. Not far from Hinata, Sasuke is hiding behind a big tree, secretly observing Hinata. Sasuke of course is not planning to do something bad to Hinata. He is not that kind of person at all. Sasuke just wants to see how Hinata usually trains. Bearing a blood feud, Sasuke's thirst for strength was the most. As for this guy Naruto, he actually followed Sasuke. Hinata is the first friend that Naruto made in the ninja school, but for some reason, The person that Naruto cares about the most in his heart is Sasuke. In fact, Naruto and Sasuke didn't talk much, but Sasuke is not used to Sasuke's arrogance, often provoking Sasuke and attracting other people's attention. But there seems to be a kind of pulling force. The initial bond between Sasuke and Naruto is inadvertently formed. She came here just to eat snacks? Sasuke can't understand Hinata's behavior at all. In the ninja school class, Hinata is either in a daze or secretly eating snacks with Choji, occasionally lying on the table to sleep, or reading novels. Even in the outdoor class, Hinata rarely concentrates on training. Take shuriken for example. When other people practice shuriken, they first throw it on the target, then pick it up, and then throw it on the target again, and so on. But what about Hinata? Throw the shuriken that the teacher gave to you on the target, and then Hinata will disappear. You may find Hinata sleeping under the shade of a tree. But such a person who never studies seriously is always the first in the class in every exam, and Sasuke is always the second. Sasuke can't surpass Hinata in any of the subjects. At most they are tied with each other. In the physical class, as long as Hinata is a little serious, Sasuke can hardly last more than a few moves in Hinata's hands. After eating 2 skewers of meatballs, Hinata clamped the skewers between his fingers. With a slight force of his wrist, 2 skewers flew out and stuck in the tree where Sasuke and Naruto were hiding. You've been following us all the way, come out. If other people followed, Hinata would just pretend that he didn't see them. But Sasuke and Naruto are saviors, the future leaders of the ninja world. Hinata is very careful with such big people. After being exposed by Hinata, Naruto and Sasuke came out of their hiding place. Without even looking at Naruto, Sasuke asked, "Don't you usually practice?" Yo. Hinata was interested as soon as he heard this. Sasuke wasn't happy at all. Let me tell you the difference between a genius and a genius. Hinata nodded seriously and said, "Yes. Training is very tiring. I only train for 2 hours a day at most." Sasuke and Naruto. Putting aside Sasuke and Naruto's cheats, they actually work very hard to practice. Even if they don't practice like Shaoli, every time they practice, they will be covered with bruises. In the original manga, when Naruto practiced Rasen Shuriken, his life was really in danger. Sasuke naturally thought that Hinata was lying to him, and suddenly dissatisfied. Then how can you be so strong? Hinata took a bite of meatballs, looked at Sasuke with a naive face, and said with a smile, "Maybe it's because my talent is too good." Hinata naturally also has a dream to become very strong. From the timeline, in about 10 years or so, Uchiha-bordered soil will declare war on the 5 Kage summit, starting the 4th World War. But training is really too tiring. If Hinata was a diligent person, he wouldn't have carried the title of bad student in his previous life. After graduation, Hinata had the title of fat otaku in his previous life, and his body was not much worse than a kimichi. At the beginning of his time travel, Hinata was still very yearning for magical ninjutsu. But after a long time, there is nothing strange about it. What's more, now Hinata's talent can be said to be the best in the history of the ninja world. And really just casually practice, his strength can be improved rapidly. The 7-year-old Hinata, except for the lack of chakra, already has the strength of a chunin. It's just that Hinata's fighting experience is not enough, and he lacks the ability to adapt in a moment of life and death. He can still fight evenly with a chunin, but if it's a life and death battle, Hinata is not the opponent. Sasuke is a little desperate. Is hard work really not comparable to a genius? Itachi Uchiha in Sasuke's heart is the strongest genius, but now Sasuke can't even beat Hinata. How can he talk about revenge against Itachi Uchiha? Naruto saw that Sasuke was a little decadent, and his heart couldn't bear it and shouted, "I will definitely defeat you." Come on. Hinata smiled sweetly. Naruto's face suddenly turned red, and his body was a little stiff. What a naive child. Hinata also didn't want to hit Sasuke too hard, so he said, "Okay. You don't have to follow me, it's better to go back and practice. Your talent is very good, but compared to me, there is still a long way to go." In the story of Naruto, since the beginning of the Legend of the Wind, Sasuke inexplicably has the illusion of, "I am the best in the world," and he dares to fight anyone he sees. If there is no one around to protect him, when the Fourth Shinobi World War starts, it's estimated that grass will grow on Sasuke's grave. Chapter 12. Hinata regarded the open space above Naruto Rock as his own territory, and unceremoniously asked Sasuke to leave. Sasuke proudly turned around and left without looking back. And Hinata nodded with satisfaction. Although he is the savior and the future leader of the ninja world, in accordance with the principle of like repelling like, these two people are still a bit of an eyesore to Hinata. It's good to maintain a relationship that is neither friendly nor distant. If they are too close, they may get into big trouble. Why is Naruto still not leaving? Wasn't this a little too blind? Stare. Hinata took a bite of the meatball, but found that Naruto's eyes were not on him at all, but on the meatball that he swallowed, then chewed, and finally swallowed into his stomach. Hinata. I'll take another bite. It's so fragrant. Take another bite. Hinata finally couldn't stand Naruto's gaze. When he was teasing Naruto, this guy's face was very thin, but sometimes, this guy's face was harder than my love's sand shield. I'll treat you to meatballs. With a smirk on his face, Naruto ran over to him. Oh, you're really not polite. Naruto sat next to Hinata and picked up a string of meatballs to eat, with a satisfied look on his face. She has already gone to school, and the young lady doesn't lack pocket money on weekdays. Treating the future 7th generation Naruto-sama to a meal is actually not a loss. After all, he is the future leader. Influenced by the environment he lived in when he was a child, Naruto's heart is actually very sensitive, and he has his own judgment of the mood of the people around him. Perhaps it is also the influence of Nine Tails chakra. Naruto could feel that Hinata did not hate him as much as the others, nor did he pity his background. He only treated him as an ordinary friend, no different from how he treated others. Of course, the others here referred to the other cockroaches. Hinata couldn't be bothered with those unknown extras. In fact, Naruto and Sasuke were the same. What they needed was not pity, but recognition. As a Naruto fan, it was compulsory to understand the characters of Naruto. Thank you, Hinata. After finishing a string of meatballs, Naruto finally remembered that he should express his gratitude to Hinata. Hinata looked at the village and said calmly, "You're welcome." Naruto asked curiously, "Hinata, what are you looking at?" Hinata said lightly, "Take care of the village." Naruto scratched his head and asked, "What's there to look at in the village?" I'm experiencing the mood of the 4 Naruto standing on the Naruto Rock and looking down at the village. What is a kid like you know? The scenery here is very good, and the view is very wide. Before Shinobu was established, Hashirama and Uchiha Madara stood here and looked down at the earth. This is the mood of the strong, do you understand? Although Hinata did not have the great ambition of the previous Naruto, even if she was just eating and waiting for death, as the eldest daughter of the Hyuga family, Hinata had to show an attitude of caring for the country and the people. She was still young, so it was not a big deal. But when Hinata grew up and gradually matured, if she did not love the village, she would be a heretic. After a moment of silence, Hinata asked, "Hey, Naruto, do you have any dreams?" When it came to the topic of dreams, Naruto immediately burned up and said with a serious face, "I want to be Naruto and surpass the previous Naruto." Hinata smiled and encouraged, "Well, come on." The reason why Hinata took the initiative to bring up this topic was to further build a good relationship with Naruto. At this time, Naruto did not know what the word Naruto meant. He had not experienced so many things. Naruto wanted to be Naruto just to get everyone's approval. Naruto's eyes were instantly wet, and even the delicious tricolored meatballs seemed to have lost his appetite. It was too touching. Woo! Naruto turned his head and looked at Hinata with tears on his face. Although he did not say a word, there seemed to be some kind of emotion hidden in his eyes. Hinata shuddered and stuffed the meatball into Naruto's mouth, and said, "Eat your meatball." Naruto Tower. It was rare that there was no official business to deal with, so the 3 generations Naruto took out the crystal ball, and began his daily routine. Peeping. The 3 generations was Naruto, who was known as the ninjutsu professor. He would not hide in the women's bathhouse like Jiraiya. He used ninjutsu to peep. It was like cheating in the Chunin exam to be a qualified ninja. However, the three generations had no interest in peeping in the women's bathhouse today. Instead, he observed Naruto and Hinata on the rock of Naruto. Anbu just reported that Naruto followed Uchiha Sasuke and Hinata to the Naruto rock. The three generations were very concerned about this. The growth of the Nine Tails Jinchuriki is almost related to the future of the entire Shinobu. The Cloud Village already had a perfect Hachibi Jinchuriki, and it was participating in the Third Shinobi World War. If it wasn't for the fact that the Cloud Village had some scruples and didn't let Killer Bee completely transform on the battlefield, it is estimated that Shinobu would have suffered a greater loss. The Mist Village was too mysterious, and it was separated from the Land of Fire by the sea. The three generations did not know about the situation of the Mist Village. But the Rock Village's Jinchuriki was already an adult, and the Sand Village was also studying their Jinchuriki. There was intelligence that the Sand Village was experimenting with a new method of sealing their Jinchuriki. What does the Hyuga family want to do? Is it intentional? Or is it a coincidence? The three generations couldn't help but wonder. The Uchiha clan has been destroyed, and Sasuke's existence in addition to containing Itachi is the only task of helping Shinobu develop a new Uchiha clan. And Sasuke is only 7 years old, so he won't have too many thoughts. But the Hyuga family is very strong, and Hinata's contact with Naruto made the three generations suspect that the Hyuga family is using a honey trap. The Nine Tails Jinchuriki to marry into the Hyuga family? The three generations had a headache. Although the Hyuga family never marries outsiders, if it's the Nine Tails Jinchuriki, the three generations suspected that the Hyuga family is plotting a rebellion. There are always unruly people who want to harm me. Although the destruction of the Uchiha clan shocked the major ninja clans in the village and strengthened the centralization of power of the Naruto clan, but for the outside world, the strength of the entire Shinobu clan has been weakened. And the Hyogo clan has always been good at judging the situation. Although the Hyuga clan still maintains its independence, it can almost be regarded as leaning towards the Naruto clan. The three generations didn't want to touch the Hyuga family, and the role of the Byakugan in the war is too big. Almost all the major ninja villages covet the Byakugan, and how many of them want to seize the Sharingan? The Manjikyu Sharingan hasn't appeared in the ninja world for decades, and many people have even regarded the Manjikyu Sharingan as a legend. The three generations Naruto's wrinkled brows suddenly relaxed, and his wrinkled old face smiled like a chrysanthemum. It's time to go to the ninja school and brainwash them. Chapter 13. I'm going back. After eating with Naruto, Hinata got up, patted her butt, pointed to the pile of garbage on the ground and said, "I'll leave this to you." Hinata is a lady who loves to protect the environment. How can she leave the garbage here? And Naruto nodded again and again, patted his chest and promised, "Leave it to me." Looking at Naruto's stupid face, Hinata couldn't help but feel deeply worried about Shinobu's future. Seriously speaking, Konoha being able to develop to this point is really a blessing from the heavens. The first Naruto was a retard. The second Naruto liked to do all kinds of research and didn't do proper work. The three generations Naruto peeped at women's bathhouses with a crystal ball every day. The fourth Naruto died young. The fifth Naruto was a gambler. The sixth Naruto liked to read porn. The seventh Naruto. It's a long story. None of the Narutos were normal. Think about the Fourth Shinobi World War. Shinobu and Chunin Uchiha bordered soil, joined forces with Shinobu Kiba and Apothecary's Pocket, and declared war on the entire Shinobi world at the Five Kage Summit. It was the two Shinobu Kiba who saved the world. The entire Fourth Shinobi World War is a showdown between Shinobu and Chunin. Naruto can only be a bystander, okay? Alas, if Shinobu didn't have these Chunin, they would have already been beaten to the door. Standing on Naruto Rock and looking down, Hinata, who has learned how to climb trees, can easily jump down from here. But isn't this too high? Gulp. Giving up the idea of showing off, Hinata tried to maintain her arrogant posture as she walked past Naruto with her chin up. Three generations Naruto and Hinata Takuma. How can Hinata's small movements escape the eyes of these two? Does the lady have acrophobia? This must be reported to Hayashi-sama. As soon as Hinata entered the house, she was blocked by Hyogo. Father-sama. Hinata bowed to salute. Hayashi lowered his head and looked at Hinata. Everything about his daughter was good. Her etiquette and temperament were excellent. Hinata didn't look like a ninja at all. Instead, she looked more like a noble girl. Although that's just Hinata's disguise. But isn't a ninja's a profession? As for talent and strength, there was nothing to say. Although Hinata was a bit lazy and always found excuses to slack off during cultivation, it was normal for children to be playful, right? Hyogo can find excuses to cover up Hinata's shortcomings, but acrophobia is something he can't tolerate. Hinata blinked and asked curiously, Father-sama, is something the matter? Hyogo nodded slightly and said in a deep voice, We're going to the back of the mountain to train today. Hinata said pitifully, But Father-sama, I haven't had dinner yet. Hyogo. Still want to eat? Are you a pig? Didn't you just eat on Naruto? Hayashi snorted. Don't learn from the Akimichi, we Hyuga family don't rely on fat to store chakra. If you say that, the Akimichi will beat you up. Hinata naturally knew that Hinata Takuma would tell on him, so he had no choice but to submit to Hyogo's tyranny. Hinata isn't a person who holds grudges, but when he takes control of the Hyuga family in the future, he should let Hinata Takuma know the consequences of offending the heiress. Hyogo followed Hinata to the back of Shinobu's mountain. Hyogo brought Hinata to a mountain wall and said, The control of chakra is the most important part of Gentle Fist. Although you've learned how to climb trees and walk on water, and your control of chakra is far better than your peers, you still can't slack off. This mountain wall is uneven, and some parts have been weathered. It's very fragile, perfect for your training. Of course, the main point of this mountain wall is its height. Hinata looked up and saw that it was about 100 meters away. Hinata nodded and said, Father-sama, I'll start then. Okay. Following Hyogo's words, Hinata sprinted up the mountain wall, attached chakra to his feet, and quickly ran to the top of the mountain. In a few seconds, he reached the top of the mountain, then turned and ran back down. Hyogo. Didn't they say that Hinata had acrophobia? Is this what you call acrophobia? Hinata Takuma, are you tired of living? Very good. Hyogo was about to turn around and leave Hinata alone when he suddenly thought of something else. Hinata often slacked off during his training. Of course, Hinata had never slacked off in front of Hyogo. This was all reported to Hyogo by Hinata Takuma. Thinking of this, Hyogo said lightly, You can train here by yourself. I still have some things to deal with. Hyogo walked far away, activated Byakugan, and prepared to secretly observe Hinata to see if she would really slack off. If Hinata had acrophobia, then it was really a misunderstanding. The reason why Hinata did not jump down from Naruto Cliff was because he was worried that Naruto would follow his example. Although the child of destiny would not fall to his death, Hinata was also responsible for it. One must know that Naruto was the strongest. But as for whether or not Hinata would be lazy, this was the truth. Byakugan. This old man is indeed secretly spying on me. I don't know how many times he has spied on me. Damn it. He even wants to spy on his own daughter. Sigh. Hinata sighed, turned off Byakugan, and began to train hard. After running back and forth on the cliff dozens of times, Hinata was so tired that she stuck out her tongue. After resting for 5 minutes, Hinata took out a bandage from the ninja tool bag and tied it on her hand, and then began to train Gentle Fist against the tree. In the ninja world, the tree was always the most pitiful. In the distance, Hyogo's forehead was blue veins popping out. Hinata Takuma, this guy, actually dared to slander Hinata, who gave him the courage. Hyogo was originally just looking for excuses for his daughter's shortcomings, but now that he saw it with his own eyes, he found that his daughter was full of merits. Etiquette, high talent, and willing to work hard. This is the future of the Hyuga family. Although he has not seen Hinata's unbridled side outside, Hyogo did not believe Hinata Takuma's words at all. Hinata Takuma. This damn in. It's time to test the strength of the elite ninja of the Hyuga family. Every time Hinata trained for a period of time, he would open the Byakugan to observe. Seeing that Hyogo had gone far, Hinata was relieved and sat down on the ground. His forehead was full of sweat, and his hair was sticking to his face. After practicing for a while, Hinata felt that his control of chakra has improved a little, and the level of gentle fist seems to have improved a little. This talent, where is the reason? By now, Hinata found that the biggest cheat in his body is not the Byakugan, nor is it the Tensigan that has not been opened yet, but the talent cheat. But what is the limit of this talent? Hinata made a wish that he could easily beat Uchiha Madara. Uchiha Madara's highest achievement is 6 Paths Madara, whose strength is close to Otsutsuki Kagaya, and Sasuke and Naruto together can fight against him. And Hinata can beat Uchiha Madara. Chapter 14. No one is watching, and his body is already very tired. Hinata jumped to the tree and lay on the branch looking at the sky. It's already dark, and the night sky reveals a faint light, like a calm deep sea without any waves. Staring at the large and small stars in the sky, Hinata began to think again. When he first watched Naruto, Hinata always thought that Naruto was about hard work, and hard work, and as long as you work hard you can surpass genius. But in the end, wasn't it still a noble war? The history of the ninja world for thousands of years is completely the grievances of Otsutsuki's family. At the beginning, he was really blinded by lard, so he didn't make the wish to be strong by lying down. But this is also good, at least he can practice, otherwise lying in bed every day, he will really be a waste young lady. Feeling that it's almost time, Hinata jumped down from the tree, rolled on the ground, and then ran home. His whole body is dirty. If he doesn't let Hyogo take a look, wouldn't it be in vain? After asking the family ninja about Hyogo's location, Hinata ran to the practice room and gently knocked on the door a few times. Come in. Hinata pushed the door in and bowed. Father, I'm back from practice. Hyogo glanced at Hinata and saw that Hinata's face was full of sweat, and his body was dirty from head to toe. At first glance, it's the result of hard work. Glancing at Hinata Takuma, who was lying on the ground half dead, Hyogo secretly said in his heart, "The beating is still too light, let's forget it this time, after the injury is healed, I'll beat him again." Hyogo looked at Hinata and said, "Go back and wash up, and then rest early, you have to go to school tomorrow." Hinata was about to respond, but he saw a person lying on the ground, with a bloody nose and a swollen face. He couldn't recognize who it was. So miserable. Did he fail the task and get beaten up by Hyogo? Father, daughter will retire. Yes. As soon as he returned to his room, Hinata saw Ningji standing at the door waiting for him. Big brother Ningji. Miss Hinata. Hinata asked curiously. What's the matter, brother Ningji? It was Ningji's first time seeing Hinata like this. He asked worriedly, did Miss Hinata fight outside? Hinata usually practices in the practice room at home. Even in the ninja school, in order to maintain the image of a young lady, Hinata pays attention to hygiene and never makes herself so dirty. Hinata rolled his eyes and said, I just went to the back of the mountain to cultivate. Ningxi, I thought, Miss Hinata's talent is so strong and she works so hard. I have to work harder, otherwise how can I protect Miss Hinata in the future? Hinata asked again. Big brother Ningji, why are you waiting for me here? Ningji nodded and took out pocket money from his pocket and said, Father just gave me pocket money. I can't use it. Miss Hinata likes to eat snacks, so take it. Good. Generous. This was what a great brother should be like. What kind of brother is Itachi Uchiha? When they meet, he uses Tsukuyomi. When he has nothing to do, he pokes Sasuke's forehead with his finger. He also lies all day long. There is no truth in his mouth. She should learn more from Ningji. Almost all of his pocket money in the past 2 years, except for what he must use, was handed over to Hinata. Thank you, big brother Ningji. Rest early. Goodbye, big brother Ningji. After receiving Ningji's pocket money, Hinata's wallet bulged again. She took a bath and slept contentedly. She even had a good dream. The days were dull and full of fun. Although the crisis of the ninja world was approaching day by day, Hinata didn't care about it. He lived his own life happily. Why would he care about the future of the ninja world? In taijutsu class, in addition to Naruto and Sasuke, Hinata also likes to beat up Inuzuka Kiba. After all, he is a future teammate. If his teammate's strength increases, won't Hinata be able to relax a lot? As for his other teammate, Hinata knows who it is, Shino Aburame. But just knowing the name is useless. This man has no sense of existence. The ninja school has been open for more than a year. Hinata can only look at Shino when the teacher calls out the name. At other times he can't find this person at all. But the people who play with Hinata the best are definitely Choji and Shikamaru. Originally, Hinata wasn't interested in children's ninja games, but Shikamaru's IQ is very high and can always think of a variety of strange games. At first, Hinata didn't care, but after playing with them once, he found that the game is hidden. In addition to strength, the ninja knowledge learned in school, lurking, traps, camouflage, and so on can be used in the game. Over time, Choji and Shikamaru became Hinata's little followers. Well, in fact, Hinata played the ninja game with them. It's really not childish, it's not hide and seek, it's a ninja game. In practice, although Hinata is a lazy fish, always looking for various reasons to be lazy, but Hinata is really powerful. Talent cheat can't be reasoned with. Whether it's chakra, gentle fist, ninjutsu, ninja quality, fighting experience, Hinata only needs to casually practice, and his strength will increase. It's like opening 10 times the experience. After all, Hinata's talent is not Mangekyo Madara, nor Rinnegan Madara but Rikudo Madara. In other words, Hinata only needs to casually practice, and he can beat Madara, who has become the Jinchuriki of Jubi and has Rinnegan without relying on the power of Jubi. Compared with talent cheat, Hinata feels that his Tensigen cheat seems to be nothing. However, Hinata doesn't dare to expose his full strength for the time being, even to Hyogo. Although the current Shinobu is peaceful, there is still darkness under the calm surface. To be honest, Hinata is not afraid of organizations, Orochimaru, and other ninja villages, but for Danzo, Hinata is very afraid. As for the enemies outside, all they had to do was kill them. But the enemies hidden inside are difficult to deal with. After all, Danzo is the elder of Shinobu. Even if Hinata has the power to easily kill Danzo in the future, it will be difficult to kill this person. He can't betray Shinobu just to kill Danzo, right? He has to wait for Tsunade to take over. The 3 generations and Danzo are friends, and they can tolerate Danzo, but Tsunade won't tolerate this rat in the smelly ditch. It's already the 3rd grade, and school is early. Hinata bought a large bag of food, and went to the top of the Naruto Rock, enjoying the scenery of Shinobu while tasting various snacks. This is already Hinata's territory. Ha 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 ha. Hiding here to steal food again. I don't know if you can share some with me? An old and kind voice sounded behind Hinata. Hinata turned his head and quickly got up. Naruto-sama. 3 generations touched Hinata's head with a smile and said slowly, "This is not a formal occasion, so you don't have to be so polite. Can I call you old pervert?" Chapter 15. Grandpa Naruto. Hinata called out sweetly, "People under the eaves have to bow their heads." 3 generations had a kind smile on his face, and he has always been kind to children. For 3 generations Naruto, Hinata's heart was very complicated. From the perspective of the village, 3 generations is indeed a qualified Naruto. He seems to be moderate, but in fact his political skills are very powerful. Shimura Danzo, an old fox, has never been able to fight against 3 generations in his life. But from the perspective of the family, some of the actions of 3 generations are very thought-provoking. In order to suppress the ninja family, Shinobu first established a ninja school, and 3 generations accepted Orochimaru and Jiraiya as disciples, wanting to make civilian ninjas the 4th Naruto. Today, Shinobu has more than 30,000 registered ninjas, of which less than 10,000 are family ninjas, and the rest are civilian ninjas. Even a ninja clan like the Hyuga clan only has about 1,000 ninjas. And Uchiha was stronger than the Hyuga, killing more than 1,000 ninjas in one night. And all of them were ninjas with Sharingan Kekkai Genkai. Shinobu doesn't know how many ninjas were dispatched to achieve this. Danzo's route alone is far from enough. Perhaps there are Umbu ninjas disguised as root and participated in the Uchiha's extermination. And Shinobu's casualties are definitely not small. After the Uchiha's extermination, although the 3 generations have been appeasing the ninjas, at this time, which ninja would dare to jump out and go against the 3 generations? Uchiha's fate is still in front of them. It has been 8 years since he transmigrated to Naruto. In fact, Hinata has also seen some of the situation. Although Naruto has been supporting civilian ninjas, but didn't the ninja clan also use civilian ninjas as cannon fodder? Looking at the whole Shinobu, almost all the strong ninjas are from the ninja clan, and there are only a few strong civilian ninjas. And most of the power of Shinobu is in the hands of the Naruto clan, Shinobu elders, and the ninja family. Civilian ninjas perform tasks for Shinobu, but in the end, they only get a small task reward. And Hyogo can earn huge benefits for the Hyuga family by staying at home all day long. How much property does the Hyuga family have? Hinata's understanding is only the tip of the iceberg, but it is already extremely amazing. That was the accumulation of the Hyuga clan for 1,000 years. In the beginning, when Shinobu clan, in order to win over the Hyuga family, he promised a lot of benefits. This was a conflict between classes. As long as the distribution of benefits was not fair, this conflict would never be resolved. And what Naruto wants to do is to maintain the balance. As long as this balance is not broken, no one will touch the Hyuga family. Over the past year, Hyogo has begun to train Hinata, not only in terms of strength, but also in terms of how to manage the clan. The 3 generations Naruto sat next to Hinata with a smile, and didn't grab Hinata's snacks to eat. He was just joking. Would the dignified Naruto really grab a child's lollipop? Hinata is familiar with the 3 generations, not because he has read the original Naruto, but because the 3 generations often go to the ninja school to give speeches and brainwash the children in the school. Looking at the 3 generations with reverence, Hinata asked curiously, "Grandpa Naruto, I heard that you are the strongest Naruto in history, is that true?" Although Hinata pretended to be well-behaved, in fact Hinata was just joking. The 3 generations Naruto said with a complacent look, "That's all nonsense. The first Naruto is the strongest, Kashida. Have you heard the legend of the first Naruto?" The 3 generations are modest, but why are you so complacent and proud? Shameless bastard. The first generation has been dead for many years, and most people in the ninja world have forgotten the strength of the first generation. In the view of many young ninjas, perhaps the first Naruto and Uchiha Madara are very strong, but at most they are on the same level as Naruto, or maybe slightly stronger. The 3 generations are very happy to accept the title of the strongest Naruto. Hinata blinked and looked at the 3 generations with a naive look, and said with admiration, "Grandpa Naruto is so powerful, you really can't judge a book by its cover." The 3 generations smiled and stroked his beard. Being admired by children is the most proud thing for him. Well, wait. What do you mean by can't judge a book by its cover? The 3 generations always felt that Hinata was secretly mocking him. Whether can't judge a book by its cover is a compliment or a derogatory term, it can't be verified now. This sentence is originally used to describe a person's strength, but it is also used to vaguely despise the appearance of the other party. The 3 generations looked down at the scenery of the entire Shinobu. The stability and prosperity of Shinobu is the greatest pride of the 3 generations, and also the dream of his life. "Kashida, why do you always like to sit here and eat snacks?" Hinata swallowed a meatball and said seriously, "Because the scenery here is good." The 3 generations nodded with satisfaction. Liking the scenery of Shinobu is the same as liking Shinobu. The brainwashing education of the Ninja Academy is very successful, although the strength of the ninja family is very strong. After all, they are still Shinobu's ninja clan. In fact, looking at the entire ninja world, although there are many secret technique clans, there are very few Kekii Genkai clans. Occasionally, there are only a few Kekii Genkai clans. But the Hyuga family as a Kekii Genkai clan has one of the 3 ancient dojutsu, the Byakugan, and has always been standing strong. It has to be said that the patriarchs of the Hyuga family are very wise. The 3 generations smiled and asked, "What is Kashida's dream?" After all, it is Naruto-sama who is asking, So Hinata seriously thought about it. Save the ninja world? Protect Shinobu? Change the world? It is too dangerous and too tiring. This kind of hard work should be left to Destiny's Child. Hinata intended to tell the truth. 3 generations is old. Hinata can't guarantee that he won't be able to see through his lies. Telling the truth is the safest way. After thinking about it for a long time, Hinata said shyly, more money, less work, closer to home, high position, light responsibility. Sleep until you wake up naturally, count money until your hand cramps. Hinata still wants to save face, so he didn't have the nerve to say that his dream is to eat and wait for death. And isn't this limerick talking about the position of patriarch of the Hyuga family? Thinking about Hyogo, he stays at home all day. Tasks are done by the branch family members, managing the ancestral business of the Hyuga family, and most of the time is idle. The 3 generations Naruto. In fact, the 3 generations Naruto is very relieved about Hinata. At first glance, Hinata is the kind of person who doesn't have any ambition, and he doesn't even covet the position of Naruto. Although he was born in the Hyuga family, Hinata's appetite is comparable to the Akimichi family, but his temperament is similar to the Hyuga family. To put it nicely, he is aloof from worldly affairs, but to put it bluntly, he has no ambition, only eating and waiting for death. From the standpoint of Naruto, the 3 generations like Hinata the most, especially since he is the heir of the Hyuga family. Originally, the 3 generations were worried that something bad will happen between Hinata and Naruto in private, but after observing Hinata for more than a year, the 3 generations felt relieved. The 3 generations said with a look of emotion, "It is a good dream, but many people can't get it." Chapter 16. The 3 generations chatted with Hinata, and watched as Hinata ate the food for 10 people in small bites. How big was Hinata's appetite? In the original TV series, there was a time when Hinata and Naruto competed in eating ramen. Naruto ate a few bowls and was about to vomit, but Hinata ate dozens of bowls and still did not change his expression. 1 bowl was not hungry, 46 bowls was not full. She patted her belly. Even after eating enough food for 10 people, Hinata's waist was still slender, and her belly didn't show any signs of swelling. Who knew where all the food had gone? The 3 generations were shocked. This appetite. Fortunately, Hinata was born in a Hyuga family. An ordinary family could not afford to raise him. Grandpa, 3 generations, I'm going home. The 3 generations slowly got up and laughed. Old people talk too much. Unknowingly, it's already so late. I also have to go back to deal with official business. Goodbye. Grandpa, 3 generations, goodbye. After the 3 generations left, Hinata could not help but let out a long sigh. Although the 3 generations' attitude was very amiable, Hinata was very nervous. He was afraid that he would say something wrong, and cause the 3 generations to be afraid. Although the conversation with the 3 generations surprised Hinata, Hinata still had to live a simple life. After a few days, Hinata completely forgot about the meeting with the 3 generations. Every day he ate, drank, and played with the delinquents Shikamaru, Choji, and Inazukiya. Naruto had not yet joined the group of 4 that skipped classes. The 9 unyielding experts would not be assigned to the same class until graduation. Otherwise, everyone's learning progress would be different. If the teacher spoke fast, it would be unfair to the poor students. If the teacher spoke slowly, it would be unfair to the top students. Iruka was Naruto's teacher and had taught Naruto for 6 years. This was the meaning of the 3 generations. Sandaime-sama's understanding of the human heart is very thorough. Only a person like Iruka can prevent Naruto from falling into darkness. Now Hinata had also entered the 3 generations' sights. However, Hinata's identity made the 3 generations somewhat hesitant. In the class, the girls led by Ino still collectively ostracized Hinata, and now there was Sakura. Because of Hinata's existence, Ino and Sakura did not fall out because of Sasuke. Instead, because they had a common love rival, their relationship became better and better. Sometimes, when Hinata was annoyed, she would teach Ino and Sakura a lesson in taijutsu class. To deal with these 2 weaklings, Hinata only needed to gently pat them twice to ensure that they wouldn't be able to stand up for a few hours. However, Hinata knew her limits, and the sensei couldn't say much. Kacha. After learning new knowledge, Hinata was too lazy to continue listening. He sat at the back of the class and blocked the teacher's view with his books. Hinata and the little fatty Choji held a bag of chips and ate them. Hinata had a lot of pocket money, so naturally, he would not steal Choji's snacks. Hinata would also bring a lot of snacks to school every day and share them with Choji. Shikamaru was pretending to be asleep. In fact, he was also very confused between Hinata and Choji, who was from the Akamichi clan. Kacha, sensei. It's fine if you secretly eat snacks in class, but you eat them with a kacha sound. Do you have any respect for the teacher? Choji, Hinata. Eating snacks in class, you guys stand outside as punishment. Feeling that the anger in his heart had not been vented, the other two delinquents who were sleeping in class were also implicated. Shikamaru. Yeah. Sleeping in class, get out of here. The four of them walked to the corridor and stood outside as punishment. They looked at each other and saw a trace of surprise in each other's eyes. Who would obediently stand outside as punishment? Standing outside may seem like a punishment, but to the four of them, standing outside was equivalent to a reward. Byakugan. Hinata activated Byakugan and saw that the teacher was still spitting on the podium. He nodded to his three friends, and the four of them sneakily opened the corridor window and jumped out onto the field. Speaking of which, Hinata was also a little surprised. Originally, Hinata thought that bad students like Choji and Inazukaya would be assigned to other classes. But in fact, they were similar to Hinata. They looked like they often skipped class, but in fact, they had mastered the knowledge very well. Hinata glanced at Choji. This little fatty actually hid a bag of chips when he came out as punishment. What a clever fellow. Shikamaru put his hands behind his head and looked up at the sky. It was a leisurely day. Inazukaya suggested. Let's go out and play? No. I'm too tired. Hinata and Shikamaru refused at the same time. Hinata thought for a moment and said with a smile. It's almost noon, I'll treat you to barbecue. Barbecue? Choji's eyes lit up. His pocket money was basically used to buy snacks. He didn't have any spare money to eat barbecue. Only a rich young lady like Hinata could afford to treat everyone to a meal. If you don't have any objections, let's go. The four of them had already familiarized themselves with the terrain of the ninja school. They also knew how to leave without being discovered by the school. They sneakily left the school and quickly ran towards the barbecue shop. Taking the lead, Hinata pushed open the door of the barbecue shop and said proudly, Boss, there are four of you. The owner of the barbecue shop naturally recognized Hinata's group. After all, they were the heirs of the Shinobu family. It was impossible for him not to know them. At this time, you should still be in school, right? Hinata said without changing her expression. The school ended early. Lying is also one of the compulsory courses of ninja. Kakashi said that every move of a ninja must deceive your opponent. Hinata is not a bad kid who lies, but a qualified ninja. The owner was skeptical, but since they were already here, the owner still arranged a seat for Hinata's group. What do you want to eat? First looking at the menu, Hinata looked at the barbecue shop owner and lightly said, Wait a moment. After saying that, Hinata waved her hand and motioned her three friends to come closer. Hinata whispered, Give me all your pocket money. Shikamaru said discontentedly. Didn't you say it's your treat? Hinata glanced at Shikamaru with a warning look and said matter-of-factly, Of course it's my treat, but the four of us will pay together. Treating and paying are two different concepts. Shikamaru didn't dare to speak. He thought of his mother. No matter how big or small a woman is, they are all very scary creatures. Inazukaya didn't care. Choji also obediently handed over his pocket money. Shikamaru also didn't dare to oppose. After receiving the pocket money from her three friends, Hinata slapped the table with her small hand and said boldly, Order. Barbecue shop owner. If it wasn't for the scene of forcefully grabbing the pocket money, the barbecue shop owner would really think that Hinata was a small local tyrant. Hinata and Choji were both big eaters. Hinata calculated the pocket money and ordered a few pounds of meat in one breath. Shikamaru and Inazukaya ate less. If they split the bill, Hinata and Choji would have an advantage. Sometimes Hinata also wondered why Shinobu didn't have a buffet. But after seeing a fatty from the Akimichi family, Hinata suddenly had an epiphany. If he opened a buffet in Shinobu, he would probably lose his underwear. Chapter 17. Halfway through the barbecue, Hinata suddenly felt sad and almost cried. Look at the people eating at the same table as her. A fat otaku, a lazy guy, and a punk with paint on his face. From a Hyuga family's point of view, it was fine for these three kids to be friends. After all, they were the heirs of big families. But in the original novel, Hinata was a good-for-nothing missy who was silent. But in this life, Hinata was a genius missy. Why couldn't she have a single best friend? They could kiss and hug, tell each other their little secrets, go to the bathroom together, take a shower together, and do some embarrassing things together. It's all damn Sasuke's fault. Hinata gritted her teeth. If it wasn't for that bastard Sasuke, how could she not have a single best friend and be ostracized by all the other girls? Hinata secretly decided that she would spar with Sasuke for the next year's physical skills class. If she didn't beat up Sasuke, she would write the name Hinata upside down. After eating the barbecue, Hinata ran back to school, planning to find a girl to be her best friend. Hinata hated it. She was already in her 3rd year, and Hinata had been with a male classmate for 3 years. This was simply a tragedy. First, she would find a best friend, and then go shopping together on the weekends. Then they could go to the hot springs together. Hinata's blood boiled, and her heart was filled with fighting spirit. But who should she find? Tian from Hinata's class was a good choice. Moreover, Tian seemed to like Ningji. Hinata could make use of this relationship. But they were not in the same class, so many things were inconvenient. As for the other girls in her class, they simply liked Sasuke and ostracized Hinata. But it's not like I don't have a chance. The class that Hinata skipped was the last class in the morning. It was now lunch break. Hinata strolled around the field and walked to the place where Ino and Sakura usually ate. On the lawn, Ino and Sakura sat on the ground, chatting about each other's little secrets while exchanging food. They seemed to be very happy, smiling like a blooming lily. Hinata, oh, I also want to join. With her hands behind her back, Hinata walked over in a leisurely manner. When Ino and Sakura saw Hinata, they immediately put on a cold expression. Ino proudly said, Hinata, what are you doing here? Walking closer, Hinata said with a smile, actually, you're right. I don't like Sasuke at all, and Sasuke and I can't be together. His surname is Uchiha, and my surname is Hyuga. These two surnames are hostile. Sasuke challenged me just because he sees me as an opponent. Hearing Hinata's words, Ino and Sakura's expressions eased a little. Ino asked, what's your purpose for telling us this? Hinata sat next to the two and smiled sweetly. Have you heard of a saying? The person who knows you best is not your friend, but your enemy. Sasuke and I are enemies. I know him very well. Do you want me to help you pursue Sasuke? Ino and Sakura's eyes lit up. Sakura couldn't wait to ask, Hinata, do you have a way to help us pursue Sasuke? Hinata nodded and said with a smile, of course there is. If you promise to invite me to the hot spring this weekend, I'll tell you how to pursue Sasuke. Ino and Sakura looked at each other. Ino said, then you say it first. Okay. Hinata waved his hand and motioned for the two to come closer. He said mysteriously, you should also know Sasuke's dream. He wants to revitalize the Uchiha clan. Ino knew much more about the Uchiha than Sakura. Sakura was born in a civilian family. She might not know what happened to the Uchiha. When the Uchiha clan was destroyed, Sakura was only 7 years old. No one told her about it. The people in the village were forbidden to talk about the Uchiha. Before the age of 7, Sakura didn't remember much and couldn't understand what the word Uchiha meant. Ino nodded and asked, what does this have to do with pursuing Sasuke? Hinata showed a strange smile and said softly, actually, Sasuke has been working in the wrong direction. He thinks that revitalizing the Uchiha clan requires strength. In fact, that's not the case. If he wants to revitalize the Uchiha clan, he needs to get married and have children. He needs descendants. Sasuke still doesn't understand this point. That's why he pursues strength and has no interest in girls. But if we tell him this, Sasuke will definitely. You know. Ino and Sakura blushed. Although they were more mature and knew how to chase handsome guys at the age of 7 or 8, they were still girls. They were still thin-skinned. When it came to discussing love and romance, they could say whatever they wanted without any scruples and chase after handsome guys in a natural and unrestrained manner. But when it came to talking about marriage and having children, it would make them blush and feel embarrassed. Marry Sasuke? Give birth to Sasuke's children? Looking at Ino and Sakura, who had fallen into some kind of shameful fantasy, Hinata suddenly felt a sense of despair. What a sin! So, the female classmates who were called best friends would belong to someone else in the future? Hinata comforted himself. Even if they have to get married in the future, at least they used to belong to me. Hinata also fell into his fantasy. Speaking of which, even if he went to the hot spring alone, it wouldn't be a big deal. Hinata was a little annoyed. It had been 8 years and he had been bathing at home. He didn't know how many good resources he had wasted. Just think of Jiraiya, that bitter bee **starred. He had to squat in the corner with a monocular to peep. Once he was discovered, he would be beaten up. Hinata. I can walk in openly. Ino was the first to come back to her senses. She held Hinata's hand and asked uncertainly, Hinata, is this really okay? It's so smooth. Hinata took the opportunity to touch it, but he said with a solemn expression, Of course it's okay. Think about it, if Sasuke doesn't want to have a girlfriend, no matter how hard you work, it won't help. Only by letting Sasuke understand the importance of women will he accept you. Ino asked again, But why are you telling us this? Hinata put his hand on his forehead and made a helpless look. He said lightly, I'm also annoyed by Sasuke's pestering. He only wants to pursue strength now, so he can only pester me. But if Sasuke starts to pursue girls, he won't pester me anymore. My surname is Hyuga and I don't like Sasuke, but the two of you have a great chance. Chapter 18. Sakura said to Hinata with a sincere face, Hinata, thank you so much. Hinata smiled and said, Then I will help you to the end. I will say these words to Sasuke. Ino rushed over and hugged Hinata and said with a smile, Hinata, you are really a good person. Hinata enjoyed the warm and fragrant soft jade in his arms and couldn't help but sigh. This little girl is really easy to deceive. Just coaxing her casually and she can make friends. In fact, this is Hinata. If you let Naruto come over, you will be beaten up. But if it was Sasuke himself, it is estimated that these two girls would have been deceived long ago. Therefore, in the ninja world, strength is respected, but in fact, appearance is justice. Uchiha-bordered soil can be whitewashed. Uchiha Madara basically has no anti-fans. Organizations are the most popular. Even Otsutsuki Kagaya is called a goddess because of her good appearance. Of all the Hokage, the one who suffered the most was Shimura Danzo, who told him to be ugly, but he always liked to find trouble with those who were more handsome than him. Who else would they hate if not him? Ino is the head of Sasuke's fan club. With Ino taking the lead to accept Hinata, Hinata's life in class is much better. Hinata is also a decisive person. Since he has made friends with Ino and Sakura, who will care about the fat otaku, lazy guy, and punk group, he must cut off all ties. Break off all ties. Hinata actually wants to quit the group of 4 skippers and form a shinobu version of S.H.E with Ino and Sakura. They will sing, You are the electricity, you are the light, you are the only legend. If this song was sung by Ino and Sakura, wouldn't it be praising Sasuke? However, things in the world often don't go as one wishes. The main culprit who prevented Hinata from leaving the 4-person truant group was the class teacher. Please forgive Hinata. As soon as he saw that his teacher was an unknown background actor, Hinata lost interest in him. Hinata had been in school for 3 years, but he still didn't know the name of his class teacher. Hinata slept in class, ate snacks, daydreamed, and read novels. He was often called out by the teacher to stand outside as punishment. Since the obedient Hinata had already been called out as a punishment, fat otaku, slacker, and shamate, who had gone overboard, were naturally not spared. But who would obediently stand as punishment? Since he had already been kicked out of the classroom, of course he would go out to play. As a result, Hinata became popular with both the boys and girls in the class. His popularity remained high throughout the year. However, since Hinata had already promised Ino and Sakura that he would guide Sasuke back to the right path, he couldn't go back on his word. During the physical skills class, Hinata decisively called out Sasuke to spar with him. At the same time, he gave Ino and Sakura a look that said, "Watch carefully." Sasuke naturally wouldn't be afraid of Hinata. Right now, he couldn't wait to be together with Hinata day and night. Alright. Sasuke actually wanted to improve himself through sparring with Hinata. Could strength restore the glory of the Uchiha clan? He was indeed a youth who had gone astray. When the sparring began, Sasuke took the lead and rushed towards Hinata. His speed was very fast among his peers, but in Hinata's eyes it was nothing. After easily parrying 2 moves, Hinata aimed for a gap and slapped Sasuke's stomach. Ouch. Sasuke really wanted to clench his teeth and not let himself cry out in pain. However, the pain was still bearable, but the feeling of wanting to vomit last night's meal was very unbearable. Hinata had a sense of propriety, but this was only to prevent Sasuke from being seriously injured. At most, he would be bedridden for a few hours. However, being hit in the stomach by Hinata's gentle punch was really painful and disgusting. He would feel nauseous for a few hours. Ha! Sasuke shouted loudly and endured the pain as he rushed towards Hinata again. Hinata curled his lips and his figure moved, dodging Sasuke's attack. His small hand lightly touched Sasuke's stomach. Sasuke immediately felt as if he was struck by lightning. His body stiffened for 2 to 3 seconds before he knelt on the ground and vomited in pain. TSK, how pitiful. Who asked you to snort at me? Who asked you to be so handsome and cause all the girls in class to ostracize me? Go to hell. Shit. I forgot my promise with Ino and Sakura. Would they hate me for injuring Sasuke? Hinata clearly overestimated the inertia of humans. For the past 3 years, as long as Hinata was in a bad mood or was in a good mood, he would always ask Sasuke to spar with him during physical skills class. Ino and Sakura were already used to Sasuke being abused by Hinata. Cough cough. Hinata coughed lightly and squatted down to whisper to Sasuke, "Sasuke, you're actually working in the wrong direction." Sasuke suddenly looked up at Hinata and asked, "What did you say? Could it be that there's a problem with my cultivation method? Otherwise, why can't I beat Hinata even though I'm working so hard?" Hinata stood up with a smile and waved at Sasuke. He turned around and walked towards the small forest beside the field. Sasuke endured the pain and stood up. He clutched his stomach and followed behind Hinata. This is a small forest? Standing in front of the small forest, Hinata suddenly stopped. In Hinata's previous life, the small forest had always been a place for men and women to date. If you looked carefully, you could even find some strange things. Was it really okay to invite Sasuke here? Sasuke walked to Hinata's side and asked, "Why did you bring me here?" "Forget it. Since we've already avoided the crowd, there's no problem talking here. There's no need to go into the small forest." Hinata turned around and faced Sasuke. Chapter 19. Idiot? Looking at Sasuke's back as he left, Hinata's anger grew. Should he kill Sasuke now? He dared to curse? He was really tired of living. Hinata couldn't believe it. For more than 3 years, Hinata had been bullying Sasuke at school. How could he have the courage to call Hinata an idiot? Who gave him the courage to do that? Originally, Hinata wanted to give face to Ino and Sakura, and let Sasuke go for the next 3 years. But now this person was too arrogant. If he didn't beat him, he would become too arrogant. Not long after Sasuke left, Ino and Sakura surrounded him and hurriedly asked, "How was it? How was it? Hinata, did you talk to Sasuke?" "I did." Hinata adjusted his mood and looked at the 2 little Lolas who were wholeheartedly devoted to Sasuke and comforted them. "Don't worry. The words have been delivered, and Sasuke will consider it himself. When he starts to open his heart to girls, you will have a chance." Ino and Sakura nodded. Their faces were full of joy. This annual drama of a group of girls chasing after a man finally had hope. As for Sasuke, this awkward little brat, will Hinata's words have any effect on him? In fact, it will have a little effect. If he wants to revitalize the Uchiha clan, future generations are indeed the key. But Sasuke has another idea. What he wants is not a weak Uchiha, but as long as he hears the word Uchiha, the whole ninja world will tremble in fear. In Sasuke's view, only this kind of Uchiha is the real Uchiha. As for what Hinata said, more than a dozen sons, hundreds of grandchildren, and so on, although it is also very important, it is not what Sasuke wants. A huge clan is just a paper tiger in the face of a strong person. So, the days in the ninja school have not changed at all. The girls are still attentive to Sasuke, but Sasuke still ignored them, even little beauties like Ino and Sakura. The only change is Hinata. Although Sasuke has been paying attention to Hinata, the girls are no longer hostile to Hinata. Hinata has already explained that he has no idea about Sasuke, and it is impossible for the two to be together. As a result, the girls have accepted Hinata. Sasuke's days have also changed a bit. He doesn't know if Hinata is crazy or not, but he always beats him up. Eating, sleeping, and beating Sasuke, this seems to have become Hinata's daily life. Naruto is still the same, he continues to live in the ordinary class. But a few days ago, Naruto suddenly came to Hinata and told him that he finally got the recognition of the second person. It can be seen that Naruto is really happy. Ko Iruka, he is the head teacher of Naruto's class, and also the professional teacher of Hinata's class. Hinata still has a good impression of him. After all, Iruka is the only teacher that Hinata remembers the name of. Of course, there is also the guy Mizuki. Having said that, the villains in the Naruto world actually have their own ideals and pursuits. It seems that only this guy Mizuki is the real villain. Really a hypocrite to the bone. In the comm, Hinata has grown up by 1 year. It is already the 4th grade, and everyone has matured a lot. But what makes Hinata intolerable is that the little fatty Denji seems to have some strange thoughts recently. Occasionally, the way he looks at him is very strange. Oh, Hinata is actually very clear in his heart. Puberty. It is normal to have a good impression of the opposite sex. What's more, Hinata is a cute little cutie and the only girl in the class who is willing to play with Denji. It would be strange if Denji doesn't have other thoughts. It is still in class. Hinata wanted to look back at the clock on the wall, but found that the little fatty Denji was peeking at his back. Touching Hinata's gaze, Denji instantly lowered his head with a red face. TSK TSK TSK, spring is coming, this is the season of recovery. As a good friend who grew up with Denji, Shikamaru has noticed Denji's abnormality a long time ago. Shikamaru is very smart and much more mature than Denji. He knows very well that Hinata and Denji are impossible. Hinata is the eldest daughter of the Hyuga family, and the future heir of the main family. Hinata's future husband can only be a young talent in the Hyuga family, so as to ensure the survival of the Hyuga family bloodline. Even if he marries into the Hyuga family, he must have a certain degree of excellence, can bring great benefits to the Hyuga family, and must be recognized by Hyogo and Hinata. And once Hinata marries a foreigner, she will inevitably not be able to inherit the main family. The price is very high. Denji, the little fatty, obviously has no chance. In order to let his little friend get rid of the unrequited love as soon as possible, Shikamaru decided to help him. As soon as the class was over, Shikamaru called Denji out, and the two came to a place where there was no one. Shikamaru first asked, "Denji, you and Hinata?" Denji lowered his head, his face was so red that he couldn't look at it. Shikamaru had a headache and said, "If you have any thoughts, then boldly say it." But, Denji hesitated, it's so embarrassing. Shikamaru patted Denji and said, "Look at Ino if you like Sasuke, then say it boldly even if you are rejected, it's not a big deal." "No, I'm not," Shikamaru continued. "How about today after school, I accompany you to find Hinata?" Denji looked at Shikamaru gratefully and said in surprise, "Really?" Shikamaru smiled. "Of course we are friends." But he felt that he had let Hinata down. The reason why Shikamaru let Denji boldly confess to Hinata was because he knew that Hinata will definitely reject Denji. Denji might be in pain for a period of time, But Shikamaru will accompany Denji and enlighten him. Denji will quickly walk out of the pain of heartbreak. But from today onwards, Hinata and Denji's relationship will be very awkward. Hinata and Denji were originally good friends, but this way, it would be difficult for the two of them to even be friends. But if Shikamaru didn't do this, he was worried that Denji's feelings would be deeply rooted, and it would be difficult for him to escape in the future. And at that time, Denji will suffer even more pain. Okay, let's go back. After school, I will accompany you. Shikamaru smiled encouragingly at Denji, and then turned to leave. On the other hand, what is the female lead of the story, Hinata, doing? Hinata is also very distressed. Being too popular is actually not a good thing. Hinata also finally understood how Sasuke felt when being entangled by a large group of girls. Just now, a girl from the next class sent a love letter to Hinata. Of course, she was helping someone else to send it, but Hinata can't stand it anymore. Fortunately, the boys are not as crazy as the girls, or else Hinata might start to cut the grass. Chapter 20. Not long after the bell rang, Shikamaru crumpled the note into a ball and threw it on Hinata's desk while the teacher was writing on the blackboard with her back to the classroom. Hinata. Passing notes in class was Hinata's favorite in his previous life. But now Hinata hated passing notes in class. Without even opening it, Hinata could guess what was written inside. It's nothing more than a little boy's heart being stirred by love, and he set his goal on Hinata. Sasuke and Hinata were sitting in the first row. When they saw someone passing a note to Hinata, they glanced at Hinata. Hinata opened the note. Shikamaru signed it? Hinata took a closer look and understood Shikamaru's meaning. Shikamaru explained it clearly. He didn't want to see Shinichi suffer in the future, and wanted to cut off his unrealistic thoughts while he was still young. Shikamaru also speculated about the relationship between Hinata and Shinichi in the future. In the beginning, Hinata and Shinichi's relationship might be awkward, but as they grew older and matured, these things would gradually fade away, and they would eventually become good friends. Hinata understood. Shikamaru wanted to break them up. Pui. No. He wanted to help Shinichi cut off his feelings for him. Great wisdom indeed. Hinata placed the note in his bag. Without turning his head, he gave an okay sign. After school, Hinata arrived as promised. In order to help Shinichi, Shikamaru specially booked a private room at the meatball restaurant and guaranteed that Hinata and Shinichi could eat until they were full. How generous! This courage! Hinata could only say that Shikamaru was indeed the future military advisor of Shinobu. Shikamaru seemed to have saved up a lot of pocket money in this year. It seemed that he needed to find a chance to exploit him. After the three of them sat down, Hinata ordered 20 skewers of meatballs and 5 bowls of red bean soup. Shinichi's performance made Hinata and Shikamaru look at him in a new light. He actually ordered the same amount as Shikamaru, 5 meatballs and a bowl of red bean soup. Hinata and Shikamaru looked at each other. As expected. Is he not wanting to embarrass himself in front of his loved one? The three of them chatted and laughed. Soon half of the food on the table was gone. Hinata ate the most, but after Shinichi finished his portion, he did not eat any more. Shikamaru saw that the time was about right and turned to Shinichi and said, Shinichi, Hinata is already here. If you have something to say, just say it. Don't be nervous. I will accompany you. How could Shinichi not be nervous? He clenched his fists and his face turned red. He did not dare to look at Hinata. Shikamaru cheered him on. Shinichi hesitated for a long time before finally looking at Hinata and said softly, Hinata, can you tell me why you don't get fat? Since he started, Shinichi's courage finally increased. His tone also increased a lot. He looked at Hinata and asked seriously, Hinata, you usually eat as much as me, but you are still so thin. And I. Shinichi felt so wrong that he was about to cry. Damn it. Hinata was angry. Although it was good to not get fat, you actually said that I eat as much as you. Are you trying to say that I am a pig? After a moment of silence, Shinichi suddenly stood up and bowed solemnly. Hinata, please tell me the secret of not getting fat. I beg you, please tell me. Hinata Shikamaru. Since he did not confess, Hinata could still be friends with Shinichi in the future. This was actually a good point. But Hinata suddenly realized that he was thinking too much. Little fatty Shinichi was so innocent. He only wanted to ask the secret of not getting fat. It was not a confession at all. Hinata wished he could find a hole to hide in. Fortunately, no one knew that Hinata liked to let his imagination run wild. Hinata also avoided being too embarrassed. But if he had to choose between thinking too much and eating as much as Shinichi, Hinata really did not know how to choose. Hinata and Shikamaru looked at each other. After thinking about it, Hinata said with difficulty, "Shinichi, the problem of not getting fat from eating might be related to my body. My body should be quite special. I am the type that doesn't get fat no matter how much I eat." Shikamaru comforted him. "Shinichi, your Akita family's secret technique is to store chakra through fat. It is fine, you don't have to care about your appearance. You are a very kind person." Right. Hinata added. "Look, I don't play with others. It is because you are kind that I play with you." Shinichi's eyes were filled with tears as he said with grievance, Thank you. Such a pitiful child. Ninjas often exercise so their bodies are very good. A creature like Fatty is really one in a million among ninjas. But the Akita family was different. That's really a fatty from a big family. Shinichi usually felt inferior because of his obesity. When he was a child, he always lost games, so no one was willing to play with him. Before going to school, Shinichi only had one friend, Shikamaru. Ino, Shinichi, and Shikamaru were family friends, but they were only family friends. They were familiar with each other. Ino usually did not play with them. Hinata patted Shinichi's shoulder and persuaded. I once read a secret of the shinobi world. It is said that as long as your Akita family transforms into a butterfly, you can instantly lose weight and become very handsome. Shinichi, as long as you practice hard, you will definitely change all of this in the future. Shinichi asked with uncertainty. Is it true? Shikamaru said with certainty. Of course it is true. I also heard my father talk about it. You can go back and ask your uncle. Shinichi, I believe that as long as you practice hard, there will be a day when you break out of your cocoon and become a butterfly. Thank you. While talking, Hinata had already finished eating 20 skewers of meatballs, but he didn't feel full at all. It was really strange. Hinata's body was small, but he was able to eat a lot. The food he ate disappeared without a trace, and his stomach didn't bulge. If comparing stomach capacity, Shinichi was not necessarily Hinata's opponent. Hinata shouted, Boss, 20 skewers of meatballs and 5 servings of red bean soup. Me too. After his mood became cheerful again, Shinichi no longer had any scruples and shouted, Boss, 30 skewers of meatballs and red bean soup. Shikamaru. The reason why Shikamaru dared to talk big and let Hinata and Shinichi eat until they were full was because he knew that as long as Shinichi confessed, the two would soon part on bad terms. But Shikamaru didn't expect that Shinichi only wanted to ask the secret of not getting fat. And after being comforted by Hinata and Shikamaru, Shinichi's mood quickly became cheerful, and he really wanted to eat meatballs until he was full. Shikamaru, I'm going bankrupt, and I don't have enough pocket money. Shikamaru rolled his eyes and smiled. You guys eat slowly, I'll go to the toilet first. Slap. Hinata slammed his small hand on the table and said angrily, Don't go, don't run away from the bill. Chapter 21. In the end, Hinata helped Shikamaru pay for the meal out of his own pocket. As for Choji, his pocket money went into his stomach every day, so his pocket is cleaner than his face. However, Hinata is not willing to suffer losses. Although he helped Shikamaru pay for the meal, he received an IOU from Shikamaru, 30% interest. Who told Shikamaru to boast that he will let Choji and Hinata eat until they are full? You reap what you sow. Hinata will not sympathize with him. Putting the IOU in his bag, Hinata was satisfied. Not only did he eat a free dinner, but he also made a lot of money. I really have a good economic mind. The Hyuga family will never decline if I leave it to them. Ignoring Shikamaru's bitter expression, Hinata carried his bag and went home. Hinata's training is now on the right track, and he has almost learned the secret technique of gentle fist. The next step is nothing more than accumulating chakra and continuing to improve his foundation. After graduation, she would experience several real battles and convert what she learned into actual combat. Hinata's strength would improve rapidly. Sitting barefoot on the wooden cloister, Hinata looked at the scenery in the courtyard and fell into contemplation. Gentle fist is a kind of taijutsu that uses chakra to penetrate the enemy's body, thereby damaging the enemy's meridians and internal organs. Because the internal organs can't be trained, no matter how powerful a ninja is, if they are hit by gentle fist, it is often fatal. From this point of view, gentle fist is actually very strong, stronger than Akai's steel fist system, because gentle fist is effective as long as it touches the enemy. But gentle fist also has a lot of limitations. In the Shinobi World War I, II, and III, everyone's opponents are human, so gentle fist can be very strong. But in the future, the ninja world will be full of cheats, and Kage level will be inferior to dogs. For example, the Uchiha family's Susanoo can't be broken by the destructive power of gentle fist. Furthermore, against large-tailed beasts, the effects of gentle fist were negligible. On the contrary, Akai's 8 inner hidden gates and Tsunade's monstrous strength fist system were more suitable for future battles. He remembered that in the original work, when the 10-tailed beast had created a large number of clones, Sakura's punch had caused the world to collapse. However, Hinata had not been able to kill a single clone even after using a set of 8 trigrams 64 palms. In conclusion, gentle fists were more suitable for fighting against humans, but not against cheaters and monsters. Although the Tensigen will be opened in the future, Hinata will be able to rely on his eyes to fight, but he can't abandon the gentle fist. Back then, Hinata had vowed that he would use gentle fists to prove his Tao. There was no other way. Hinata stood up abruptly. There seemed to be flames burning in his eyes as he clenched his fists. His entire body's aura was burning. Since the current gentle fist is not powerful enough, I can only develop my own ninjutsu. At present, Hinata's 8 trigrams Emptiness Palm and Mountain Breaker are long-range attacks of gentle fist. To put it bluntly, Mountain Breaker is actually using both hands with empty palms. Through the cooperation of both hands, 1 + 1 is far greater than 2. The power is very strong. Even a small mountain can be destroyed in an instant. The power of Emptiness Palm depends on the explosive power of chakra, the degree of condensation, and the amount of chakra consumed. In theory, Emptiness Palm actually has a lot of room for growth. If the chakra of the whole body burst out in an instant, the power is absolutely terrifying. It's just limited by the meridians of the human body. It can't burst out with such a strong chakra. Hinata sat down again, holding his chin with both hands. All kinds of strange moves flashed through his mind. To develop a ninjutsu, one must first have a big enough imagination. As long as one dares to think, there is no move that cannot be developed. 8 trigrams Emptiness Palm and Rasengan are the same. Both are non-attribute chakra. However, Rasengan is the ultimate form of chakra, while 8 trigrams Emptiness Palm is just a violent compression of chakra, and then throw it out. Its destructive power is not as strong as Rasengan. But what if 8 trigrams Emptiness Palm is changed? What if chakra is added to 8 trigrams Emptiness Palm? Hinata's imagination was running wild. He suddenly stretched out his right hand and controlled chakra to spin in his hand, spinning and spinning. A blue ball of chakra appeared in Hinata's small hand. Is this Rasengan? Minato used 3 years to develop Rasengan. Naruto used 7 days to learn Rasengan. Hinata wanted to develop Emptiness Palm, but accidentally learned Rasengan. No. How can I steal other people's moves? Hinata shook his head and continued to think. It seems that Emptiness Palm can't be rotated. If chakra is rotated in the body, it will definitely hurt the meridians of the arm. But Revolving Heaven can be rotated. With a flash of inspiration in his mind, Hinata jumped up from the ground. His small feet pushed against the ceiling and his whole body rotated. His body tilted and slammed into the ground. While he was still gliding in the air, Hinata used the force of the rotation to release chakra from his body, and used Revolving Heaven. Watch my Whirlwind Charge Tornado. Baba. Watch my Revolving Heaven Bomb. Chakra was released from Hinata's body. Using the force of the rotation, it formed a huge ball of chakra. With a bang, the ball of chakra smashed into the ground, leaving a long trail behind it. It then crashed into the corridor on the other side of the courtyard, causing the walls of the house to collapse. Blurg. So disgusting, so dizzy, I want to vomit. Hinata shook his head to make himself feel better. The first thought in his mind was to leave the scene of the crime immediately. Hyuga family moved so fast. Before Hinata could get up, several figures flashed over. Some stood on the roof, some stood in the courtyard, and some stood in the corridor. But without exception, their eyes were fixed on Hinata. The pressure was so great. Hyogo said seriously, "Hinata, what happened?" Hinata bowed like a good girl and said, "Father, I was experimenting with a new ninjutsu. It's just that I didn't control it well. That's why it's like this." New ninjutsu? Hayashi and Hayashi looked at each other. The elder said, "Well, there's nothing else here. Let's go back." The onlookers all left. Hinata was called to the practice room by Hyogo. The elder stood beside him. Hyogo was a little proud. His daughter was indeed a genius. She was able to create a new ninjutsu at the age of 10, and it caused so much damage. It seemed that this new ninjutsu was very strong. Hyogo coughed and asked, "Hinata, how's the effect of your new ninjutsu?" Hinata stuck out her tongue and whispered, "It's not bad." Looking at the destruction of the courtyard, the effect of the new ninjutsu did seem to be good. The elder asked, "Hinata, can you use the new ninjutsu again?" Hinata was stunned. "Here?" The elder automatically stepped aside. Hayashi and Hayashi said, "Come on." Hinata couldn't win against the elder, so she could only obey. Hinata took a few steps back and jumped up. She condensed chakra under her feet and squatted on the ceiling upside down. Exerting force on her feet, Hinata rushed towards Hayashi, her body spinning in the air as she used revolving heaven, and a huge chakra ball fell from the sky. Hyogo and the elder. You're tuning into the Earbook Haven YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.